are world champions.
The Los Angeles Dodgers were the toast of Major League Baseball. Even a Game 7 defeat could not temper their expectations. 104 wins and a supremely talented core had the team and their faithful believing an elusive championship would be theirs for the taking. Reality has a way of tempering even the loftiest of expectations.
At the wall, and it's gone.
The 2018 Dodgers are struggling. Injuries have decimated a once potent club. The road to October is never smooth, never straight, but the journey continues.
And our baseball journey brings us to Southern California as you look at historic Dodgers Stadium, site tonight of the opener of this quick two-game series, Rangers and Dodgers interleague style. So Chu, he'll continue to hit, but so too will the pitchers tonight. And we'll see how this one goes as we welcome you in. Great to be with you tonight, everybody. I'm Dave Raymond. Now, I'm told C.J. Nikowski is here somewhere. We'll try to bring him in sooner as opposed to later. Mention interleague play for the Rangers. Well, you look back to last year, this is what has really worked well for the Rangers. Last year, 14-6, best record, rather fifth best overall last season. Their OPS, their on base plus slugging, tops in baseball. Good power, lots of offense, and we'll see if they can continue that here tonight in their first interleague game of the... Whoa, here he is. C.J. Nikowski indeed has joined us for this one tonight. Now, interleague went well for the Rangers last year. This year, what's going well for them, at least lately, CJ, has been the bullpen.
It's been a welcome sign. Of course, you remember a year ago, the bullpen had a lot of issues, but not so far here in 2018. This group collectively has done an excellent job, and you're always judged as a group in the bullpen. And we're going to take you back to May 6th and show you just how good this bullpen has been and where they rank in all of baseball. The best ERA since May 6th. The opponent's OPS very good, the whip really good, and that strikeout to walk ratio is something you always want to see, and it has been each and every one of these guys getting it done. You see Jose Leclerc here has been so good when he has inherited runners, and then Kella, of course, has been doing an excellent job since taking over that closer role. He has been perfect in save opportunities.
All right, well, another one of the big storylines as we get into this series is that the Dodgers, this is a team that won 104 games last year. Expectations were sky high, but they started off terribly. 16-26 at mid-month last month. They've turned it around a little bit. So many injuries that have really hurt them. And when you look at the all-star voting in the National League, I mean, there are names you would expect to see. Matt Kemp's, this is return year back to the Dodgers, not the name you would have expected.
Certainly not, and after he got traded over from the Atlanta Braves, a lot of people saying he probably wasn't even going to be on the opening day roster, and the return to Los Angeles was not nearly what was expected. It has been incredible here for Matt Kemp and what he has meant to this team and what he has done. We're turning back the clock about 5 years here in Los Angeles, and over his last 16 games, Matt Kemp has been fantastic. The high batting average, the home run, and the OPS over 1,000 for him so far. So what he has done, not only a surprise, but something that has been needed for a team, as you mentioned, that's been decimated by injuries.
Now, pitching, hitting doesn't seem to matter tonight. If Kemp's going to keep it going, he's going to do it against one of the all-time greats from the Dominican Republic. You know it, Bartolo Colon. The Dominican dandy was one of the greatest control pitchers of his time. Renowned for his ultra-high leg kick, Marichal won more games in the 1960s than any other pitcher. He was the first Latino to toss a no-hitter, the first to 200 wins, and the first Dominican-born player inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. A spot-up specialist in his own right, Big Sexy has amassed 243 wins, tied with his fellow countrymen. Will Colon take his place as the winningest Dominican pitcher of all time? Find out next. I can't wait for this one tonight. You know Bartolo wants to get this one done here tonight, CJ.
He certainly does, and on the road this season, he has been fantastic. And just how fitting for him, they have the opportunity to go for history here at Dodger Stadium. There have been so many entertaining pitchers that have put on the Dodger uniform, and certainly Bartolo Colon is an entertaining pitcher, fun to watch, so why not try to make it happen here at Dodger Stadium? Certainly the big man will try to get it done once and for all and stand alone among Dominican pitchers.
All right, so that's on the line tonight. Another thing going for this Rangers team lately has been their small ball. When we come back, Emily Jones will put it in the spotlight. Rangers baseball is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Are ready to go here tonight. Game one of a quick two-game series, and we are set to get this thing started. That means Shin-Soo Choo heading to the plate. By the way, a late scratch in our starting lineup tonight. Nomar Mazara was scheduled to bat third this evening, and he was scratched, I don't know, about 30 minutes ago, maybe less, with flu-like symptoms. We changed a couple of things in the order. We'll get to that momentarily. But first, Caleb Ferguson is ready to go, and his initial offering a little bit up and away. Ball one to Shin-Soo Choo. Wow, 75 degrees here in Los Angeles. And it's 2-0. Does it feel like 75 degrees to you, CJ?
It didn't for a while. It felt a little warmer than that, I thought, for a while here in the booth. We don't got the airflow necessarily, so that may be a little bit part of it. During the day, it felt pretty beautiful, as it usually does here in Southern California.
Strike to Chu, it's 2-1. Shin-Soo Chu at 267. And see, fourth in the league with 41 walks, continues to get on base with extraordinary regularity. And he fouls that one away. 2-2. Chu working on a nice on-base streak right now that has him reaching at 26 in a row. We have a shift on against him, and he watches a close one off the plate. It's a full count.
It's been a steady diet of fastballs so far from Ferguson to Chu, and if you notice, not a lot of movement on that fastball. It's pretty straight. You've seen 92 to 95 miles per hour from a 21-year-old rookie.
Yeah, just the second big league appearance for Ferguson, and Chu lifts the payoff pitch into shallow center field. Peterson coming on away. All right, well, let's take a look at our Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers. 27 wins, 41 losses. You just saw Chu, now Delano to Shields in center field. Profar moves into the 3-hole now, playing short. Beltre at third. Gallo has moved to left field, batting fifth. Guzman now in the order. He's at first base, batting sixth. Chirinos, Odor, and Bartolo Colon will be batting ninth tonight.
You really buried the lead there. I mean, let's be honest, to what people are excited about. Yeah, there's some good things happening in the Ranger lineup, but batting ninth tonight, Bartolo Colon.
Well, a bunt by Delino, and it's dropped at first base. That might well have retired him, but Bellinger just couldn't hold it.
You're going to watch this play right here as Delino will tell you not his best bunt. He always tries to shoot the lines, but couldn't get it past the lefty. And you're going to see Max Muncy come in, the second baseman, and just flat out miss that ball at first base. That throw looked like it was pretty good. Maybe too hard, a little hot to handle. Not quite sure, but.
Yeah, and thank you for the correction, Muncy, the second baseman covering. And maybe that's part of it.
Well, it's not an easy play, without a doubt, for that second baseman to come over and get there in time and get set up. But at the same time, I'll take the hit for Delino all day long. It's probably a play that should be made.
So he is on for Profar, and Jurickson takes a strike. Profar at 235, a little bit of power. And his extra base hits, home runs, and whatnot, they have come in bunches. He tends to get on these little hot streaks for 4 or 5 games at a time. Behind here in the count 0-2. Jurickson was 0 for 5 on Sunday. That fourth and final game against the Astros. Did score a run in that one. The Shields with a small lead. A long look from the left-hander. He'll ultimately toss over there. Delano with 12 stolen bases this year, so an obvious threat, even for a team like the Dodgers, who they haven't seen the Rangers in quite some time. They know that Delano is a guy who's going to challenge them a little bit. Again, Ferguson with a long hold. And this ball grounded to shortstop. Taylor to second one. Muncy with a turn, and that 6-4-3 double play ends the Rangers' threat in the first inning. So Ferguson a scoreless top of the first, and now Big Bart, Bartolo Colon, ready to go to work. no score early on. Let's see, the Dodgers now a game over 500, 33 wins, 32 losses. And they will start things off with the shortstop, Chris Taylor. Max Muncy at second base, Justin Turner at third. It's Kemp, Bellinger, and Yasmani Grandal in the middle of things. Yasiel Puig in right, Jack Peterson at center, and the pitcher, Caleb Ferguson, rounding things out for LA. Dodgers 3 games back of Arizona in the West. And they will see Bartolo Colon tonight. Bart 3-3 on the year with a .416 earned run average. 12th start of the year. He goes 1-0 on Chris Taylor. Well, that didn't miss by a whole lot, but 2 balls and no strikes.
No, not surprising to see Bartolo Colon coming out using that fastball is what he does best, what he uses most, and the Dodger hitters will see a lot of that tonight.
Colon, as we mentioned earlier, 243 career victories, most among Dominican-born pitchers. Tied for that honor, one of the true greats of the game, the Dominican dandy Juan Marichal. Bartolo got that win his last time out, and now trying to hold that mark all by himself. Smashed down to third base, played by Beltre. And they take care of Chris Taylor, 1 away.
Let's take a look at what Bartolo Colon has used so far this year. I mentioned the fastball and a lot of them. It's 65% on the 2-seamer, another 15% on the 4-seam fastball. He will throw the changeup and the slider, but just 10% each. And for Bartolo Colon, a 189 batting average against the 4-seamer, 243 on the 2-seamer. And it's all about the command. So important, and also getting a little bit of help. Getting at least the corners called or just off with that 2-seamer, also very important to Bartolo Colon. We have seen his good outings when he lives on the edges and gets those calls. When he runs into trouble, it's when he starts leaving that 2-seam fastball over the plate a little bit too much.
Muncy takes a little bit in. 1-1 the count. Max Muncy from Midland, Texas, now resides in Keller in the Metroplex. And he takes strike 2.
That's a good example of the front door 2-seam fastball from the right-handed Colon to the left-handed hitting Muncy, starting that in off the plate. If he can command that inside part against lefties, he'll be in good shape tonight.
1-2 pitch and strike 3 called. Muncy down looking, 2 away.
A good start here for Bartolo Colon. And let's take a look at the Rangers defense this evening, which is delivered to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. Pardon me. Joey Gallo in left, Delano DeShields in center, and Shin Soo Chu in right field. Those are the changes that were made. Adrian Beltre at third, Jurickson Profar, Rougned Odor, and Ronald Guzman at first. And it's Robinson Chirinos behind the plate this evening, catching Bartolo Colon. So we thought we were going to see Joey at first, and I mentioned it. Nomar Mazara not feeling well. My guess is he's probably trying to fight through that. Not feeling great when he got to the ballpark. Thought he'd be okay. Went through batting practice, and then ultimately realized he was not going to be able to go. So that's why the Rangers made those last-minute changes.
Justin Turner now, and he takes one down low. We were talking earlier tonight at the broadcast about Matt Kemp and what he has meant to the Dodgers this year. He has been the big surprise story and the guy they've been able to lean on just a little bit as Turner takes a strike and does not like it.
Well, this is what's important, right? I mentioned Bartolo Colon getting that call, and then hitters understand it. Certainly Justin Turner understands it with Bartolo Colon, and so when you see the edges getting called, you try to work the umpire early. Let him know that you believe that pitch is off, because you know Bartolo will get that call consistently. It could be a long night for those Dodgers hitters.
Lance Barrett, our plate umpire. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Turner. And he shoots it foul out of play. So yeah, this year, Kemp's been a big story for them. But the last couple of years, Justin Turner has quietly been one of the real big stories for the Dodgers. His last 4 years here, he's averaged better than 300 as a hitter. An OPS over 880 over the last 4 years. 71 home runs. And he hits this one out into center field. The Shields has a beat on it, and the inning is a quiet one for Bartolo Colon. All right, when we come back, a homecoming for the great one. Adrian Beltre will lead things off.
And the Dodgers, and once you get a look at Caleb Ferguson, what he has done in the minor leagues, had some very impressive numbers. 10 starts, 3-0 record, sparkling ERA. That's at both AA and AAA, and he is now making his second big league start. The arsenal, it's fastball, curveball, and a two-seam fastball, the sinker that you'll see from the 21-year-old lefty.
And his first pitch, Beltre bounces it out into right field, a base hit to start the second inning.
Well, a good way to start it off for Adrian Beltre. But let's take a look at the Dodger defense this evening. And in the outfield, it's Matt Kemp, Jock Peterson, and Yasiel Puig in right field. And in that infield for the Dodgers at third, it's Turner, it's Short Taylor, Max Muncy at second, and Cody Bellinger at first, and Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. So would you consider that a shift beater right there?
That's a shift beater, yeah.
It looked like a pretty routine ground ball to the right side. So interesting as we watch the shifts as they become more prominent. See Adrian Beltre jump right out there and beat it.
Now Joey Gallo, who moves up a spot in the order with Mazzara not feeling well tonight and scratched before the ball game. So Gallo batting fifth and starting in left field. You see his overall numbers, 17 home runs. Showing bunt.
How about that from Joey Gallo? So many different things going on. So I mentioned the shift and the good job that Adrian Beltre did right there. How about this? This is in all of Major League Baseball. Joey Gallo, Nomar Mazzara tied for the most hits lost because of the shift, where shifts have taken away base hits. You see Kyle Seager, Logan Morrison on that list as well, Bryce Harper. So that's certainly frustrating, and that's why you see Joey Gallo maybe at least attempting that bunt, thinking about it. We've seen him do it now already this year. That's got to be frustrating. That's a lot of hits to lose here already in the middle of June. Can you imagine that the way that would parse out over a full season, that he would lose nearly 50 hits on the year?
Let's think. There's a swing and a miss, and he strikes out for the first out of the second inning.
Well, it's the elevated fastball from the young lefty, and we've seen Joey Gallo with this pitch quite a bit. You know, you can go above the zone. Looks so good coming in. You see the big hack as Joey just gets under it. That one probably out of the zone, but too close to take with 2 strikes. I mean, somewhere around there. We know it probably wouldn't last that long. We figure here we are June 12th, 19 hits, maybe 25 or just under. So even if it was 40, I mean, 40
about 45,
hits,
about 45 hits is what it would pace out to be.
That's a lot of hits, man, to
that's
lose.
That's a ton. Yeah. Ronald Guzman did not think he was going to start tonight, but here he is, batting sixth, playing first base, and he's got a runner out there. Takes another strike from Ferguson, and the count 0-2.
So I looked at league-wide earlier today, and the league batting average coming into Tuesday was 245. And using the inside edge data, they do a really good job with this stuff. It's been about 344 hits that have been taken away because of shifts this year. The difference in batting average, 5 points. Had those shift hits not been taken away, batting average would be 250. It's still a really, really low average right now in baseball. The 245 that we have right now would be the second lowest in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
So even if you give those extra 5 points, it's still the fifth worst. So I don't think the shift is necessarily the biggest issue as far as why we're seeing such a low batting average. It's been a big deal to Joey. It's been a big deal to Nomar Mazara. But overall,
I mean, that's a pretty big shift. 5%.
Yeah, it is.
But the other one is the strikeouts.
Yeah, the strikeouts are the bigger issue, because when you put it in perspective of history, you don't see that much of a change as far as how low the league batting average is right now.
Good breaking ball from Ferguson. Jumps ahead of Chirinos, 0-1. Robinson batting seventh. Oh, and 2 the count. Rangers with a couple of early hits. DeShields with the bunt single on the first inning. Beltre with a leadoff hit on the first pitch of this inning. Adrian back home, quote unquote, where his career began. Chirinos deep in the box. And shanks this one over to the right side out of play. Robinson has the average right at 200. He did not play in Sunday's game. Yesterday was an off day. The Rangers traveled after the game Sunday. Slightly unusual to see a team do that, but they traveled out here, spent the day in Los Angeles, relaxing, whatever, just doing whatever they wanted as the 0-2 pitch up and away.
Well, certainly worst places to spend an off day than Southern California.
I said he was deep in the box, CJ.
Yeah, you weren't exaggerating.
Almost out of it.
As long as that foot is on the line, and you see hitters all the time really kind of push the limits, give you a little bit longer of a look.
Oh, that ball hit well, but down the left field line and foul.
You see how close that was, right? It was pretty close as far as being fair or foul. Robinson Chirinos knew right away it was foul. Hitters know. He knew he hooked it a little bit. He knew it wasn't going to stay fair. They kind of give it away a little bit. Like I thought, off the bat, I thought that had a chance, and then I looked down at Robinson, and I was like, oh, no, it's going to have 0 chance.
Now, if he's up in the box,
well, would it be fair? Would he not have gotten as good a swing and as good a look at the curveball? A couple different ways to go with that. I see what you're saying.
His swing would have been that much later, just a fraction later.
Which is in the gap over the fence.
Maybe.
Well, maybe get down there early tomorrow, work with him a little bit, talk about his stance, where he's going to be.
Listen, let me take care of this now. Hey, Robbie, move up a little bit.
You like that episode of Seinfeld, right? Where George Costanza's giving Jeter and Bernie Williams hitting advice? I'm sure they would love that.
Oh, man. No, up, Robbie, not. Well, we might have to address this tomorrow.
You know, pitchers keep an eye on that too. Catchers will as well, making sure that a guy is not out of the box. And a lot of guys, Albert Pujols used to do this. I haven't paid that close attention lately, where they just clear that line out.
Yeah.
They get in there and they clear that line out right away so that the umpire can't see it, so they can try to buy themselves an extra inch or so.
Well, look, what I like is the different colored dirt makes that even harder to use that maneuver. 2-2. And that's high. Full count. So Chirinos has battled a little bit here. We mentioned Ferguson, just his second big league appearance. His debut was on the 6th to start at Pittsburgh, and he couldn't get out of the second inning. Went an inning and 2/3. This will be his 27th pitch, and he loses Robinson Chirinos, and so the Rangers have 2 base runners.
Yeah, he's an interesting lefty. You see the really good arm. You see very respectable velocity. But I've always been amazed when you see lefties in the big leagues that don't use a 2-seam fastball. He has one, but it's not really something he uses very often. It is all about the 4-seam fastball and the curveball. It's got a really good 2-pitch mix, but you don't see a lot of arm side run, right? That ball that runs away from right-handers that most lefties will try to use down and away to get ground balls. It's more about 4-seam fastball with pretty good velocity, so location becomes extremely important if you're more 4-seam fastball over 2-seam fastball as a lefty.
So a couple of base runners for Odor, lefty on lefty here. And he shoots this one the other way, foul.
Or the other thing you'll see, I was thinking about a guy like Outlighter. Outlighter just went cutter after cutter after cutter. If you don't have the good arm side run, then you usually have the cutter at least to be able to cut inside to righties to keep them honest. We'll see. He's only 21 years old, and you take your repertoire as it is. You throw it up there against big leaguers, see how it goes, and over time, almost every pitcher will tell you over the course of their career, their repertoire will change.
Yeah, the hitters will let you know what works and what doesn't.
Indeed.
Now, Ferguson was a 38th round draft pick in 2014. He's 21 years old. He was in diapers, not even a year old, when his mound opponent tonight, Bartolo Colon, was making his big league debut. Off the plate, and it's 2-1. Well, there's Dave Roberts. 195 wins his first 2 seasons as the skipper here, including 104 last year. Those are the most in the first 2 seasons of a managerial career since Earl Weaver with Baltimore, 1969 and 70. Earl Weaver won 217 games in his first 2 years. Are you kidding me?
That's incredible. That is incredible. They've had a really good run here. Finally got to that World Series, but really trying to get over the top here are the Dodgers. They put together a really good roster. They've put a lot of resources into their club. Expected Dave Roberts to kind of take them to the top, add to the trophy case. Oh,
in the dirt, another walk, and now Odor is on.
well, that was really odd. That looked like it was probably some confusion and maybe some miscommunication on signs, because Grandal looked like he started to go down as if he was expecting a curveball. So here he is now trying to talk a young man through starting at the big league level. He gets one big league start, doesn't go very well, couldn't get out of the second. Here he is now trying to get over that hump, and you can see brain's going pretty quickly. Thoughts are going really fast. He probably didn't hear a word that Grandal just said. Watch this, right? He is absolutely expecting a curveball in that situation.
So how about this now? Bases loaded for Bartolo Colon. You're saying to yourself, what? Bartolo Colon, yeah, interleague play, National League town. And you look at the career numbers, 1 home run.
So now you see the couple of walks right there. I would assume you sit back, you take at least 1 strike.
The bouncer back to the mound. Probably not going to beat that one out. And that'll do it. Rangers leave them loaded. The Hollywood Hills. 1.5 in, no score.
Stadium, Adrian Beltre, back where it all began some 20 years ago. And my favorite story that Adrian has ever told me is about when he was called up. He was called up to replace Bobby Bonilla, who went on the DL. He played for some time, played very well. When it came time for him to go back down to the minor leagues when Bonilla was healthy again, Glenn Hoffman, the manager at the time, and Tommy Lasorda, the GM at the time, brought him into the office and said, Adrian, time to go back down. You did well. Thank you for your time and what you did for this team and helping us get Bobby back. And Adrian said everything in him told him just to say, yes, sir, and turn around and walk out. But something inside him made him speak up. And he said, you know what? And he looked at Tommy Lasorda because they had the relationship from his time in the Dominican. And Tommy spoke Spanish. And he said, who's going to be your third baseman of the future? If it's going to be me, why wouldn't you let me stay up here and learn from Bobby Bonilla and learn from the best and learn at this level? And Tommy said, go on, get out of here. We'll talk to you about it later. And he said after about 2 weeks, no one said anything to him, and he guessed it stuck. So we were used to him talking his way into the lineup, guys. He talked his way into the big leagues, basically, here in LA.
I love that story.
Same.
I've always loved that. I mean, it tells you so much about a guy. And I think it tells you a little bit, too, about Tommy Lasorda. And, you know, what it means to a manager, a general manager, whatever, about a guy's competitive edge and spirit.
And I mean, listen, I think it's great advice to take to any job. Maybe next time you get fired,
I'm not going.
just give it a whirl, see how it goes. Who's going to be your accountant of the future? It's going to be me, let's be honest. I don't know.
3 balls and a strike on Matt Kemp as Bartolo Colon out for a second inning. Kemp at .338 for the year. What a season he's having. And hits his ball on the ground to Adrian Beltre. And the veteran slings it across the diamond in time, 1 away. Well, whatever Lasorda picked up on that afternoon, it's one of those things where I guess, you know, your instincts tell you to do something based on an interaction you have. And these many years later, you have to just kind of pat yourself on the back and say, you know what, I think I read that one pretty well. Because it did work out okay for Adrian Beltre.
It worked out fantastic. What you love as a manager and a general manager when you're sitting in that situation is the confidence of the player. Right? That's one of the biggest things and the biggest hurdles. All of these guys have talent. And it's a matter of the mental game, which becomes such a big part of trying to stick and last as a big leaguer. And when you get a guy who says something like that to you at that young of an age, who is confident and talented, it does make you think twice a little bit. It's not a bad idea to put something in your manager, your general manager's ear, as long as you're sincere in what you believe, and that speaks a lot to those guys. And obviously, they thought twice about what he said, and it worked out extremely well.
Cody Bellinger spoils that offering from Colon. 1-2 the count. Bellinger hitting .235 for the year with 12 home runs. Bellinger off such an incredible rookie season last year. 2-2 the count. Rookie of the year last year in the National League. Second consecutive year that the Dodgers have produced the National League Rookie of the Year. It's a full count now.
Yeah, a little bit of a different year here so far for Bellinger as the league adjusts to him. A little bit line drive rate is down, swings and misses, especially early in the count, are up.
Inside, and he draws the walk. And so Bellinger on here in the second. All right, let's take a look at our Kubota power stats on Bartolo Colon. Look at what he's done on the road this year. And we talk about his walks and his strikeouts, and really it's all about limiting the walks. But his strikeout to walk ratio on the road, it's third best in the American League behind Corey Kluber and Chris Sale.
He's been incredible. We know this about Bartolo Colon. Just the walk rate, how great it has been this year. We know that he's not a huge strikeout guy. He comes in with a 5.7 strikeout per 9 rate. That's about 2.5 strikeouts below, or just a little bit over 2 strikeouts below league average. So it's not about the swings and the misses with Bartolo, but it is about the exceptional walk rate. at least at this point in his career, as he uses that two-seam fastball in the mid to upper 80s.
Well, he got that strikeout of Muncy in the first inning, and that gave him a round number, 2,500 in his career. And how about the guy next on the list? Christy Mathewson, the big six. Fly ball, shallow center field. Shallow enough that Odor is able to backpedal and get it. 2 away. The MLB at bat is your #1 Rangers app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Rangers home screen icons and features like the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB at bat today. And wear a jaunty hat when you're doing it. Bonus points. Well, here is Puig, and he hammers this ball out to left field. Gallo going back, so is DeShields. DeShields with the leap against the wall, but he comes up empty. Bellinger will score. Puig bangs that one off for a double, and the Dodgers lead 1-0.
Well, Yasiel Puig knows the scouting report against Bartolo Colon, and he is not going to wait around. He'll look for something early, and he jumps on the first one here. You see Delino limping a little bit after going hard into that wall. But we'll take a look at the pitch here first. There is that fastball that sits middle at 85 miles an hour. Good look at the two-seam grip. Bartolo wanted that pitch in instead of finish middle, and Puig took a big swing and thought he got it. Now look at this effort by Delino DeShields as he goes into the wall and just misses, making a tremendous play. Joey Gallo does a good job of getting this ball in. It took a pretty hard bounce off of that wall, and now the trainers are going to go out and take a look at Delino DeShields.
I think I saw Delino try to wave them off, but Kevin Harmon, head athletic trainer, said, I don't think so. I want to take a look at this. We saw Delino on that last homestand make a fabulous catch up against the wall. Went straight into it, head on, at full speed, and came away as if nothing had happened. This time, definitely a little slower getting up. But he's convinced everybody that he's okay.
But Delino has been so good defensively, and you mentioned the last homestand how good he has been, really taking control of center field. You see the really good play there. This was against the Astros. You see him going there, doing a nice job running that one down. This one here with a little catch and slide into the wall, a little backward somersault as well. And Delino DeShields in center field this year has been excellent for the Texas Rangers. Of course, remember last year, mostly in left field with Carlos Gomez here. The Rangers saw the improvement in his defense, and he earned himself the job, and he has really delivered defensively.
Well, now Jock Peterson, and he'll take a strike. Peterson, 275 average. And he's showing a little pop. Look at those numbers against Cologne. Just 2 for 9, but with a home run. Peterson's always had a lot of swing and miss in his game, but last year made some pretty good improvements in terms of swinging at pitches outside the zone. He cut that rate down a little bit, and he improved his rate of contact on pitches outside the zone, but that's always an ongoing concern with him.
Well, he's prototypical modern day baseball player. That swing right there, that's a 91-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle. It's not as if he got blown away with 98 or took a big hack at a split, turned out to be a split finger, didn't see him. That's a fastball right down the middle, not a ton of movement. He does not ever back off. You're not really going to see him choke up and try to go the other way. He's going to go big, and you see him get under that pitch right there. I mean, that is everything he has, and Jock Peterson is a guy who swings that way regardless of count.
Might need to put a little chin strap on that helmet. Hits this one high in the air, but foul and not a play.
Now that's the pitch you got to be careful with. Now you look at that swing, you say, okay, well he must be dead pull power, and you worry about throwing middle and middle in. But Jock Peterson this year is slugging .656 on outside pitches that are away from him. That is the best in Major League Baseball. League average is about .350. There's a pitch that's middle away, outer third at 92, and he has really slugged well against that type of pitch this year.
Swinging a hot bat. 6 home runs in his last 7 games. The Dodgers had the day off yesterday as well, had one of their big social events of the year. So it was a day off from playing baseball, but a day in which they were together as a team and hobnobbing with the fans and whatnot.
A couple celebrities. I saw some. They were showing some video highlights. Big board here. John Legend was there performing.
This ball hit well out to right center field, and that one is gone. Boy, just enough to get over the wall. A 3-run shot for Jock Peterson, and that searing bat stays hot.
I would mention, regardless of count, you are going to see a big swing from Jock Peterson, and this at-bat was no different on a 1-2 pitch. It's an 89-mile-an-hour fastball, two-seam trying to go in, and not a terrible location. That ball is in inner third, catching the plate. So you come back over, that played right into the swing of Jock Peterson.
So 2-run blast, and now Caleb Ferguson. And he takes strike 2, so quickly 0-2 the count on him. Off the plate. Ferguson in that first start, he did not get an at-bat. Did not make it through 2 innings, so this is his first opportunity at the plate in the big leagues. And he takes strike 3 called. The inning is done. So Colon picks up another strikeout, but he allows 3 runs, and the Dodgers draw first blood here tonight. We head in the top of the 3rd inning. Now earlier tonight, we saw Delano DeShields drop down a bunt for a base hit again. Rangers have done a really good job of this lately. In fact, our Shinerbox spotlight tonight has to do with the Rangers' employment of the small ball attack.
Yeah, I think we'll see more and more of this in the game. We talked about shifts a little bit earlier. Of course, Delano DeShields just has great speed, and that was a close play and putting pressure on the defense. So I think you'll see even more of that, not just from the Ranger offense, but they have been terrific in this regard. 14 bunt hits, that is the most in Major League Baseball. You see Delino with 5 of those now, but we've seen, of course, Rougned Odor. We have seen Joey Gallo. I mean, the big man doing it as well. It's not just about fast guys. Not that Joey Gallo's not fast, but a lot of times I think of those leadoff hitter types as the only ones that would do it.
Well, Chu goes the other way out into left field. That one drops in for a base hit. A good piece of hitting, and Chu has now reached in 27 consecutive games.
It really is amazing to watch Chu and what he continues to do here at age 35 and keeping the hands in on a pretty good 94-mile-an-hour fastball. 4-seam, good look at the grip right there. Head down, hands in. Slice that ball into left center field.
All right, so here comes Delano to Shields. So the average now at 218 for Delano. His on-base percentage was at 307 coming in. And he takes a strike from Ferguson.
It's kind of interesting to look at how the 2 innings have gone for both of these offenses, where you get to that spot, right? The National League is a little bit different. You get to the 8-hole hitter with 2 outs, and not a bad idea to kind of be selective on what you want to do. And Ferguson, whether he did it on purpose or not, walked Rougned Odor, which brought Bartolo Colon to the plate with the bases loaded. And then on the flip side of things, Jock Peterson at a 1-2 count got a pretty good fastball to handle and drives it out of the ballpark, which has made a big difference here early on, as opposed to maybe pitching around him, trying to take advantage of some of that aggressiveness and then just going after the pitcher. Hopefully that does not come back to bite the Rangers when this thing's all said and done.
Hot shot up the middle. That's a base hit for DeShields. So 2 more hits tonight for Delino. Couple of base runners on, nobody out. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan. All right. Yeah. Great one. How about that, CC Sabathia?
Yeah. But 1,500 is a Yankee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I tell you what, that deal. Resurrecting his career to the point where, I mean, how many times do you see a pitcher sign a long-term contract and then the team want him back the year after that contract is up?
Pretty rare.
Unbelievable.
Well, Profar up here now. 2 men on, nobody out. He bounced into a double play in the first inning, 0 for 1. Caleb Ferguson, rookie. And this is outside, 2-0. Power player to watch is Profar. How about against left-handed pitchers? 12 of his 16 hits have gone for extra bases. The 7 doubles, 3 triples, and 2 homers. So not only doing better this year from the right side against these left-handers, but hitting for a lot more power, driving it to the big parts of the yard. One of the real great stories in this first half. He shoots this one foul. It's 2-1.
Well, you think about Jurickson Profar and coming into the season, and we talked about a lot what we thought his role was going to be, and ultimately he gets way more playing time than expected. But the big concern was, what are you going to do against left-handed pitchers? Because Jurickson Profar coming into the season was hitting just 188 against lefties over the course of his career, nearly 200 plate appearances. And so that was a legitimate concern, but as we just showed there, he has really answered that question and answered it well.
Profar's on base is at 311 for the year. Leads a team in doubles, triples, has the 6 home runs. Shoots this one out to right field. Puig ranging back, now circling in to make the catch. Has a really good arm. One away. I'll tell you what, I would pay whatever it costs to come in.
Oh, big money Dave, you laying some money down? Wow.
Just to see his arm. I might see him make 2 or 3 plays a game just to see him let that thing go.
I'm with you. He's got a great arm, loves to show it off. Remember when he first got to the big leagues, a little bit out of control with his arm, a lot of times missing cutoff man. He's gotten a lot better, and this throw pretty much on the line, a little bit offline, but a strong throw nonetheless, and Chu knew that. And he wasn't going anywhere, and that looks like about an 18-inch glove that he's got right there. That looked humongous.
Yes.
Looks like that glove at AT&T Park.
It's like a novelty glove.
Yeah. That thing, it's pretty big. But you're right, he's got a really strong arm. Remember, I mean, he was a little out of control early on in his career.
Sure.
He couldn't wait to show it off, but that meant missing cutoff man unnecessarily and allowing other runners to advance. But he's honed it in, and he's got a great one.
And now Beltre, who takes a strike. Adrian had a base hit in the 2nd inning. Started his career here 20 years ago. He's a 19-year-old. Shoots this one by third. That's a base hit. Chu into third base. They'll wave him to the plate. Into third base is DeShields. RBI single for Adrian Beltre. And the Rangers are on the board.
Now this ball was absolutely smoked by Adrian Beltre, and not very much that Turner could do at third base as he's almost playing defense on himself. You see a pitch that is elevated unintentionally. And Beltre all over it. Watch how hard this ball was hit. Turner a couple of steps to his left and a dive, but couldn't get there in time. That ball hit too hard.
So now on the corners with 1 out for Joey Gallo. And they're appealing, apparently, whether or not DeShields touched second base. Felt like perhaps he missed it. He didn't.
You don't see that too often.
No, you don't. So the first pitch to Gallo, a little high, ball 1. Well, Joey struck out in the 2nd inning. It was the beginning of a back-to-back strikeout portion of tonight's program for Caleb Ferguson.
So you see here for Adrian Beltre at first base, Cody Bellinger not holding him on. Taylor's right there, and they feel pretty confident that Adrian is not going anywhere. And then, of course, you have the left-handed hitter in Joey Gallo. So that allows Bellinger to get a little bit more room, an opportunity for some more range down there at first base.
The outfield pretty deep. Peterson especially in center field. Now it's warm here today, 75 degrees at game time. And a little tapper down the first baseline. The only play will be Bellinger. Gallo stays in a rundown for a moment. In fact, it will end up going 3-4. The force out at first base, but it gets a run home. DeShields scores.
It's a smart, and a smart play by Joey Gallo just to make sure that Delano had enough time to score, and he certainly did. Because watch Bellinger as he charges in. He almost looked like he was giving it a thought of maybe going home, which would have been a mistake. So that's a good job by Joey just to make sure that you don't just give up and go ahead and get tagged if you know there's an opportunity for a runner to advance.
Meanwhile, Beltre now at second base. Ronald Guzman, and he takes a low strike. That call has been there tonight by plate umpire Lance Barrett. Does seem to favor that low strike. Ronald hitting .229 coming into play.
So you got the rookie-on-rookie matchup here. So as far as call favorability, not going to go one way or the other. Is anybody earning it? But you have seen as you watch Ferguson when he tries to throw that fastball away, seems like he starts to overthrow a little bit. We've seen quite a few of them cut off the plate unintentionally.
Oh, finds a corner, strike 2.
It's a good curveball right there. That one looked nice at 73. miles per hour. And perfectly located. You'll see the reaction from Guzman. Look at him start to bend back a little bit. That ball finished on the outside corner.
Say rookie on rookie. You add these two, add their ages together, and they'd still be a year younger than Bartolo Colon.
I'm sure Bartolo loves that we bring stuff like that up.
1-2. Leaving it up. Okay, look at RBIs by American League rookies, and there is Guzman.
It's time to play company.
Yeah.
Yankees have had a couple of rookies, 3 of them right there, that have done a really nice job for them this season, and Guzman's been good in these spots.
Fly ball to center field. Peterson coming in. And the inning will be done, but the Rangers pick up a couple, and it's now a 1-run game as we go to the 4th.
That two-seam fastball, the sinker from Bartolo Colon. Last year he threw nearly 1,400 of them and the high batting average of .343 against, but 14 home runs. Now this year the pitches thrown in the opponent's batting average is coming into tonight. So you got a batting average 100 points lower than last year, but the home run rate obviously much higher, 13. That does include the home run that Peterson hit. That's the most allowed on a sinker in Major League Baseball. So kind of an odd year for Bartolo Colon. Much improved from the total hits allowed and the batting average down significantly on that pitch, but the home runs have been a problem, and they've been very similar to that pitch that we saw from Peterson. Came back over the plate a little bit more than Bartolo wanted. I guess it kind of plays into the trend of the game, right? Batting average is down, home runs up, but a big 1-year difference so far with Bartolo.
Off the plate, he goes 2-0 to Chris Taylor, and part of that is you're willing to concede a couple of home runs here and there if you can keep the extra guys off with walks and whatnot. And Colon's so good at doing that, so you want to be around the zone, live in the zone a lot, and he does. Sometimes you have to accept the fact that you're going to find too much of the plate, and guys are going to hit the occasional ball out. It's 3-1 here to Taylor. Also, this is the bottom of the 3rd inning. One of those things, we're going to break. I was like, we're off to the 4th. I was, just the game isn't. There's a swing and a fly ball. Will pop up out into short left field, and Profar is there, 1 away.
What the big rush is.
So man, you are where you think you are. Sometimes I just like to float ahead a little bit. Get a little bird's eye view. Here's Max Muncy. Muncy struck out in the second inning. And that put Bartolo Colon at an even 2,500 strikeouts in his career. If he punches out here, it would allow Colon to tie Christy Mathewson on the all-time strikeout list. So we'll see if Bart can get Muncy a second time. Muncy, a left-handed hitter. He takes inside 1-1.
It's been one of the fun things that you and I have been able to do over these last couple of years as Adrian Beltre leaps over some pretty incredible names in Major League Baseball history, whether it be RBIs, home runs, of course, the hit list, everything that he has done. And now we get to do the same here with Bartolo Colon. And I gotta say that we're taking trips down memory lane because neither one of us saw Christy Mathewson pitch, but pretty cool to kind of revisit his career a little bit. Different game, different time. But comparing him and Bartolo, kind of opposites, but then at the same time you look at things like their walk rate, strikeout rate, somewhat similar.
Off the plate, 2-2 on Max Muncy. Yeah, I guess you have a couple of guys you're watching in terms of history today. Christy Mathewson and Juan Marichal. Boy, this ball pounded high in the air. Chu going back, and that one will leave the yard. 13th home run of the year for Max Muncy. Gives the Dodgers now a 2-run lead.
Well, we're just talking about the one issue here with Bartolo has been the home run, and especially against the two-seam fastball. We'll get a look here, and you see this pitch. He was trying to go away on the corner. Good look at the fastball grip, and that one finished middle in. And we know lefties more often than not like that ball in, down and in, 107 miles an hour off the bat, and a projected distance of 386 feet.
So Justin Turner now, and he takes strike one. Turner flat out to center field in the first inning, 0 for 1. 4-2, Dodgers on top. Oh, and 2 the count.
We saw Justin Turner not too happy in his first at-bat with some of the calls that went against him. He ultimately flew out to center field, and that one right on the corner. And he tried to buy himself a little bit more room on the outside, but hasn't gotten it yet.
Well, this Dodgers team, mentioned earlier, they've turned things around a little bit. And part of it has been the home runs and just the resurgent power in this offense. And you look at what they have done in June. Those aren't National League ranks. Those are Major League Baseball ranks. This is one of the hottest offenses right now in the land. And 1-2 now the count to Turner.
And they really needed to get it going. All of a sudden, the National League West has become much more competitive, I think, than a lot of people expected. The Arizona Diamondbacks still in first place. The Giants hanging in there as a 500 team. The Rockies just a game under. And I think a lot of people thought, myself included, that the Dodgers would probably run away with this division. But with all the injuries they've dealt with, they got off to a really slow start. So the offense has carried them as of late. See how good they have been in the month of June.
It's this ball out to left field on the run for it. Galloway won't get to it, and Turner is on with his first hit of the night. Now looking at the National League West, and it's been an interesting first couple of months to the season because you look at the teams involved and they have shuffled around. Everybody's been hot, everybody's been cold. Right now the Diamondbacks with that 3-game lead.
Yeah, it really has been an interesting division. The Diamondbacks have a good team. They've also had their struggles. They've also had a couple of injuries to deal with. And it has a very similar feel to how the National League East felt. Right, the Washington Nationals at one point were a 4th-place team. The Phillies and the Braves were pretty surprising. And the Mets have been a disappointment so far. And I think in both cases, you look at a team like the Nationals, you look at the Dodgers, and you say, yeah, they had the best roster. in the division. At least my opinion, they do. And you would expect them to win those divisions pretty easily. But the rest of the division has had other plans and has made it difficult on both the Dodgers and the Nationals.
Here's another hot bat, Matt Kemp. He hits this ball out to left field and right to Joey Gallo. Boy, a sinking liner, not an easy play, but Gallo right there to make the catch. And there are 2 away. That's not, I'm not saying it's the most challenging play in the world, but hit right at you like that, sinking quickly.
No doubt. Now for Joey Gallo, playing outfield for the first time at Dodger Stadium and getting a feel for how the ball carries, and there certainly was some top spin on that ball, came down pretty quickly. I think nothing is routine in a new ballpark for an outfielder the first time he plays out there during a game.
So Turner at first, Bellinger takes outside. Walked and scored in the second. Ostensibly the best player on this team. Seager. Corey Seager hurt. In fact, he will miss the remainder of the year. 1-1 the count on Bellinger. Bellinger last year was the first rookie ever to lead a 100-win team in both home runs and RBIs. Set the National League rookie record with 39 long balls. Pretty good. He's 12 home runs this year. And he hooks this one right by first base. Turner heads to third. He'll be in there easily on the Bellinger single, and the Dodgers have him on the corner.
We talked about how good this offense has been in June, and it does appear that some other guys starting to heat up as well. As we saw this at bat where Bartolo Colon went with off speed to Bellinger. He did not throw him a fastball this entire at bat, and then it was a 81-mile-an-hour changeup that Bellinger was able to go out and hook and hit it pretty hard. And we know Ronald Guzman is pretty long-limbed and couldn't quite get to that one.
So now here is Grandal, and he turning up just a little bit here on Bartolo Colon. His 60th pitch of the night, and it is fouled off. Strike one on Grandal, who popped up back in the second inning. I mentioned it's a nice warm night, and you know the old theory here is that as the evening cools down, sometimes the ball doesn't carry as much later in the game. We'll get into that dusk portion of the night. Beautiful, beautiful setting here in Chavez Ravine. There you go. No, we did not. 1-1. And this is, you know, the first time you come here, it's been a long time for me, but you look out there in the distance, you see those mountains off in the way. The first time I met Vin Scully here, he pointed those out, and in the way only Vin Scully can, talked about that purple mountain majesty out there in the distance. It's like everything was a lyric and a poem with Vinny. Ooh, snap throw down to third. Got him, and the inning is done. Turner just sleeping down at third, and Robinson Chirinos with a hose down there to pick him off.
Well, an unbelievable throw here from Robinson Chirinos as that ends the third inning. The Rangers are still trailing by 2.
by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer. We come to you live from the Vin Scully press box. Great Dodger Stadium. How about that final play of the last inning?
Watch Adrian Beltre right here. This is a little communication between Beltre and Robinson Chirinos, and sometimes it's a little touch of the leg. It could be a head nod, whatever it is. This was something that they were waiting for, and they saw that big lead from Turner, and as soon as that pitch was thrown and Beltre saw that wasn't going to be put in play, he sprinted over to third. That was perfectly executed by the Rangers.
All right, so Chirinos will lead it off here in the fourth inning. And he takes one very high for a ball. Let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, off day, as you guys mentioned yesterday here in LA. It is Hollywood, and Robinson Chirinos and a couple of the members of the Rangers support staff found themselves on the set of a TV show, the USA TV show called The Shooter, which Ryan Phillippe is the Hollywood actor, and he is also the director. So they got to be extras in this show yesterday. Robinson said it was really one of the coolest experiences he has ever seen. He's anxious to see just how big of a part he will play in this extra.
Well, he almost became a big player in this game right there. The hard line out to left field. So it's called The Shooter?
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one. I don't watch a ton of scripted television, but that's certainly cool for the guys to get that opportunity and see how all that is set up and out there and feel pretty cool. Put some makeup on, stand in the background.
Well, now we have to watch.
Well, that you should look for him, and then
Nowhere.
You know, I know that Robinson's doing pretty well for himself, but those residuals aren't too bad.
I don't think extras get residuals.
No, you got to say something to make it happen. Still, I'm sure cool for those guys. Getting to see all that stuff works behind the scenes.
Oh, there we go. Ryan Phillippe, second from the left, right there. Of course, our traveling secretary, Josh Shelton, on the left. Who set that one up?
I don't know who has the Hollywood connections.
In the dirt, 2-0 to Rougned Odor.
I don't know who's got the connections here. What do you think?
I just assumed it was Emily.
This ball
hit well, hanging up there a bit. Peterson angles back to it, 2 away. Well, here's Big Bart to bat here with the fourth inning. And by the way, he's got some pop in that bat. Here he is with the Mets against the Padres.
I'll throw him a fastball down the middle in a ballpark where it's difficult to hit home runs. That is where Bartolo Colon is at his best. You see the reaction from his Mets teammates and the Mets fans that were there. And we forgot to point out, of course, that Robinson brought his own security detail. Blake Miller was in that photo as well, all the way to the right.
One strike pitch to Colon. And he'll take one in the dirt. So Bartolo came up with the bases loaded in the second inning, but bounced back to the mound to end the threat. 1-2 to count. This is the first interleague game the Rangers have played this year. They were the final major league team to get a chance at interleague play.
It seemed like Bartolo was trying to tap into his inner Jock Peterson with that swing. He's not getting cheated.
He's not getting cheated on the swing or on the tape on the bat handle there. Look at that. What is he?
Old school.
But
that is old school right there. Is that white tape?
It's white tape. And look
tape.
how thick it is. Look how much he put on there.
Yeah, that's old. Got big, strong hands. Big Bart. His last hit, by the way, came in 2016, and may have to wait a little bit longer.
Well, he goes down swinging here, and we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. It's 4-2 LA. Seattle. Mike Trout, 8th inning. He had homered earlier in the game. Does it again. Multi-homer game for Mike Trout. That in and of itself maybe doesn't blow you away. 21 long balls this year, but they put him into 3rd place all time in the Angels franchise history. Tim Salmon still at 299.77 clear of Mike Trout, but that is not going to hold up for a whole lot longer. Garrett Anderson in between the two of them, but Mike Trout working his way up the all-time list for the Angels.
Yeah, hard to believe that they don't have a 300 home run hitter.
Yeah.
Tim Salmon falling just short. Of course, does the pre and post game with the Angels.
Don't you have to come back for like another year?
You got to try, right?
Something.
Didn't Al Kaline, I think, at 399.
Yeah, I think Dale Murphy finished at like 398 in his career.
I would think you try, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
Seems like just about anybody could do it.
Well, bottom of the 4th inning, and Yasmani Grandal will lead things off here. 6th place hitter, and he takes one low for a ball. Grandal popped up in the 2nd inning. Of course, he was at the plate not that long ago when the 3rd inning ended. Justin Turner picked off 3rd base. This one lined out to left field, and Gallo this time charging in on it, has to take it on a hop. The lead man on here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Hey, don't miss the Best Friends ticket offer. Get 2 upper reserve tickets for just $30. Grab your best friend and head out to the ballpark this Saturday with the Rockies take on your Rangers in a 3:05 game. First 15,000 fans will get an Adrian Beltre Best Friends bobblehead, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Albertsons. Use the coupon code BFF at TexasRangers.com/specials. But hurry, the offer ends this Friday.
Got to believe that Adrian would like to see his BFF out there at shortstop here sooner than later, where that was Andrews.
So Grandal aboard, and Puig shows bunt.
Always a good idea, especially after you hit a ball as hard as Puig did in his last at-bat, just missed a home run. He hit that ball in left center field off the wall. A lot of times you can catch a team off guard trying to bunt first pitch in your next at-bat.
This ball hit on the ground, but by 3rd base foul. So 1-1 to Yasiel Puig. Puig having a pretty good year at 260. Anymore, you see a 260 batting average for a hitter in the big leagues, and you're like, hey, this guy, he's doing a little something. But 7 home runs, 21 RBIs as well for him. And Puig right about league average with his on base. This ball hit well out to left field. Gallo trots back, looks up, and it's gone. A 2-run homer for Puig, and that was a no-doubter, his 8th of the year. Dodgers now lead 6-2.
Well, Puig obviously seeing the ball well off of Bartolo Colon tonight. Mentioned the double that he had off the wall, and now he gets a pitch here, and this one was up, and that looked like it might have been a changeup that cut back a little bit. It was 80 miles an hour, and they were trying to run it down and in. Ball ended up finishing middle, as you see it at nearly 110 miles an hour off the bat, and a distance of 421 feet for Puig.
So 3rd home run of the game allowed by Bartolo Colon, and Jock Peterson shoots this one out to left field. Gallo running back to his left, and he'll have to take this one. He will not take that one. Bounces off the warning track and over the fence for an automatic double for Peterson. The Dodgers continue to make very good contact here tonight off Colon.
You got a couple of hard swingers in this lineup, and a lineup that has been swinging very good bats. Here's a 2-seam fastball, and a pretty good one. And I mentioned the outside pitches and the slugging that Jock Peterson has been doing on those pitches. Now, the home run that he hit was middle in, but that pitch was away. And he does a nice job of hitting the ball the other way. A lot of times, again, we think about the big swingers, hard swingers, that they can't drive the ball to the opposite field, but that is exactly what Peterson did in that at-bat, and a lot of what he's been doing this season.
Brocale will go out and use a mound visit. This partly to buy a little time for our Southwest bullpen live look. We see Alex Claudio preparing in the bullpen. He may be asked to come in here sooner as opposed to later. 6-2 Dodgers. Kale. And this long conversation finally broken up by Lance Barrett. Not going Bartolo's way for tonight.
Interesting to see Claudio up this early. We don't see him very often getting prepared for this kind of role. And of course, everybody had yesterday off because of the off day, but Alex Claudio has not pitched since June 5th, and he only threw 8 pitches in that outing, so it's been a while. And there's an off day coming up on Thursday as well for the Rangers, and so Jeff Bannister thinking of using Alex Claudio maybe in a little bit of a different role than we're used to seeing.
Well, Ferguson is done. Lifted for Logan Forsythe here. So both starters may end up having shorter nights than anticipated. Cologne, look, still battling. But Ferguson done after 4.
It's kind of a bummer, huh, for a starting pitcher? I mean, I know the Dodgers certainly have a different way of looking at things. We saw it last year in the World Series in which they did not allow Rich Hill, Rich Hill, a veteran, to go around the order more than twice. It worked out really well for them once. By the way, there's probably the most decorated bullpen coach in the game, Mark Pryor. Is there a bullpen coach that more often than not, necessarily a big name that you have heard of? But anyway, interesting. So he went through the order exactly 2 times. Chu was scheduled to lead off, and so they're not going to allow him to go around a 3rd time.
So, and like you say, that's sort of how Dave Roberts runs it and how this franchise decided they're going to do it. And they're really not interested in hearing other people's opinions on it. It's not about opinions. It's about data and facts and statistics, analytics, all that stuff for them.
But it worked out. They went 1 for 2 in that situation in the World Series. Rich Hill was dealing.
Yeah.
And they took him out.
No, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
This one lined out to center field. Base hit for Taylor. Peterson heading to the plate. He'll score easily. Taylor drives in a run, and it is 7-2 Dodgers. And that'll do it. Jeff Bannister on his way. And Cologne done tonight. He will not get through 4 innings. Alex Claudio been loosening up out there. He's set to go. One last drink. 7-2 Claudio coming on. And looking ahead, Father's Day coming up. Coming out to the ballpark, Rockies and Rangers. First 15,000 fans to the ballpark this Sunday. Look at a Rangers reversible bucket hat, courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest and Southwest Airlines. Get your tickets, TexasRangers.com, or by calling 972-RANGERS. That might have that on his reversible bucket list.
Be pretty cool. Alex Claudio in there now, and there's the arsenal. The fastball has been averaging 86 miles per hour, and he's been using it 54% of the time. Of course, the great Alex Claudio changeup as well, nearly 40% usage, and that average velocity of 70 miles an hour. And you'll see the occasional slider as well from sidearm lefty. Alex has done an excellent job against lefties. 191 batting average against. But I want to go back to that conversation we're having, because I'm a little worked up about it, to be honest with you.
No, I understand. No, yeah, it's fine. You're talking about taking pitchers out a little early. Now, my only thing with this, CJ, is during the season, 162 games, your analytics tell you whatever it is. I say go ahead, play those odds if you must, if that's your thing. And that's what the Dodgers do. But stick to that plan and understand that you're married to whatever those analytics tell you, and that's just the way you're going to do it. My problem was in the postseason sometimes you need to, I don't know, ad-lib maybe just a little bit more. I feel like you should, because it's a 7-game series. It's not 162, and sometimes the moment can tweak, let's say, what the analytics say. Over time, the analytics are going to probably play out about the way you think they are.
Yeah. Now, I'm with you on that part of it. I understand the philosophy behind it. I always want my manager, though, to have the flexibility. I think Dave Roberts does, but at the same time, when you have a analytical heavy organization and the way that the Dodgers are, there's probably some pressure there, even though he's done really well in his first couple of seasons with the Dodgers, to stick to the plan more than your gut. And I just look at a young pitcher, starting pitcher in the big leagues. He's got himself a 6-2 lead. I'll give him a shot to get the win. It's not about him, but about the bigger effects, because what also happens, the negative effect in this for me, is you start training guys to believe that what he did tonight was a good outing, right? And not to take anything away, but it's 4 innings. And I know we've seen what the Tampa Bay Rays are doing and everything else and starting relievers, but I just wonder when we start seeing pitchers, and we've seen a lot of them here with the Dodgers over the last couple of years getting taken out of games. Ross Stripling, of course, was throwing that no-hitter and taking him out and trying to protect him. I just feel like if you want horses, you got to breed them like absolute studs. Otherwise, you're going to get ponies. And I think you got to push once in a while with a 6-2 lead. I give him a chance to start the inning at least. Okay, third time through the order, we don't believe that it's necessarily going to be your greatest chance to succeed. We're winning by 4. At this point, there's no outs. We'll let you hit. We'll let you go back out there and prove to us that we're wrong. And as soon as you get into trouble, then you take them out. And you still have a great opportunity to win the game.
Three-two pitch, and this one grounded up the middle. That's a base hit for Muncy. Taylor will pull up at second base. Muncy with his second hit of the night.
I mentioned how good Alex Claudio has been against lefties, and you see a good shot of that sidearm two-seam fastball, but this one didn't have the usual sink. Even though it was a ground ball, it stayed up a little bit more than we're used to seeing, and Muncy was able to keep his hands in. You see the barrel to the ball, and he hit that ball firm through the shift.
We may not ever have a chance to find the answer to this question, but here's what I wonder. Jock Peterson had doubled in front of Ferguson's spot. If he was retired in that spot, do you think they would have allowed Ferguson to bat, or do you think he was just done no matter what?
I mean, they already scored 2 runs in the inning. So for me, if anything, the double would have helped keep him in, I would think at that point. Bunt him over. Yeah. If you want, I mean, there may be a time where you're going to need him to get a bunt down.
One strike pitch to Turner in the dirt, 1-1 the count. So Claudio is in, taking over for Bartolo Colon, and inherits the base runner Chris Tiver. There's Bart. Colon went just 3 1/3 today. Although we didn't really mention the strikeout of Forsythe did finally tie him with Christy Matheson on the all-time strikeout list. That is going to come as, I mean, I can't even imagine how small that consolation is going to be for Bartolo, because that is not what he was worried about today.
No, definitely not. I don't think he cares that much about it. I think it's interesting. And I've talked about different histories that we have seen, the names that have come up, passing names, tying names. It's certainly cool to revisit, but for Bartolo Colon, it's about pitching deep into the game, getting wins for his club, not just for himself. Then he ran into a very hot Dodgers lineup. We talked about what they've done offensively in the month of June, and they continued tonight here against the Rangers.
Now, Claudio could use a ground ball here. 1 out in the inning, 3 runs across already. Taylor and Muncy second and first base for the Dodgers. And there is a ground ball smothered by Odor. Quick shovel to second. The relay goes wide of first and into the Rangers dugout. So Taylor scores. It's a 4-6 force out at second, and then the E6 that allows Turner to go to second base.
A tough break here because this almost looked like it was going to be an unbelievable turn for the Rangers and an opportunity to get out of this inning. Alex Claudio was so good at generating ground balls, and this was a good swing from Turner. He hit it hard, but watch this dive. Good clean feed from Rougned Odor to go underhand from there, and then a throw just up the line from Jurickson and Profar. They had plenty of time to turn that double play. And we know, of course, that Ronald Guzman's got some pretty incredible range over there, but he could not get to that one.
Now an intentional walk to put Kemp at first base.
That probably makes sense. You think about the matchup, of course, you got the lefty on deck. Matt Kemp in the year that he is having, and giving Alex Claudio a chance to get a lefty instead. Kemp is hitting .354 against lefties coming into this game, and that has been a little bit of an issue for Alex. Lefties have hit, righties have hit .415 against him. This move right here makes perfect sense.
Bellinger's the 9th hitter of the inning for the Dodgers. Walked his first time, had a single in the 3rd inning, and he has scored a run. 8-2 LA. And Turner, by the way, does get an RBI on that fielder's choice and an error.
Really?
Yeah, that's
why is that?
I believe that is a discretionary call by the official.
Well, we saw clear as day in the replay that Taylor wasn't going to score until the ball was thrown away. He stopped at third. It's really simple.
I'm going to get you the name here.
Yeah, 1 second.
I think this is a conversation that should go a little up. No RBI. All right, there we go.
I don't know if you guys could hear that or not, but it came over our little press box PA, and they must be listening to the Rangers broadcast. Why wouldn't they be?
I can't imagine they'd have a good excuse for
Here.
using otherwise.
In Los Angeles, and they have since changed it.
It's not like you can see the Dodgers broadcast here in LA.
Oh, Dave. It's not true. 30% of people in Los Angeles can't see the Dodgers games.
Well, then I take it back. Say 30%?
3 out of every 10 people in Los Angeles.
That's not good. There's a swing and a little roller foul, and the count stays 1-2 on Bellinger. It was a little blow on my part there, and I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to be funny.
Sure, it's been an issue without a doubt here in Los Angeles.
Now 3 runs in the 2nd, 1 run in the 3rd, 4 runs in the 4th inning so far for LA. 10 hits. Claudio's pitch, a swing, a little number foul again.
And, you know, the bad part about that, a lot of bad reasons for Dodgers fans, but you also don't get an opportunity to listen to the 2nd best broadcasting team in baseball. Joe Davis or Hershiser over there next door. They're doing a nice job for 2nd place broadcasting. Here they are. Orel Hershiser, of course, former Ranger pitching coach. Actually had him as my pitching coach.
The Bulldog.
When I was here, yeah.
What was he like as a pitching coach?
He's fantastic. He was all the way in. When you get a coach that played at that level, you always hear this conversation. It's difficult for great players to coach. They have a hard time with the rest of us mortals trying to figure it out. Orel was great. He was all the way in on being a pitching coach and not just trying to get everyone to pitch the same way or pitch like him or whatever it may be.
Check swing, and that one bounces in fair territory. That's a base hit for Bellinger. Turner scores. Kemp to third. Bellinger gets a double. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and Bellinger can tell you a little bit about that.
That is some awful luck for Alex Claudio, who had Bellinger completely fooled on this pitch. You see a good look at the grip on the slider, the movement. Look where that pitch is located. He tried to stop his swing, and instead he gets enough on it where Adrian Beltre can't get there. That thing just died. It wasn't hit hard at all, and just what an awful break for Alex Claudio. That is a double for Bellinger. My goodness.
The old infield double. And here's Grandal again for a second time this inning now, and he swings and misses at strike one. Kemp at third, Bellinger at second. Fly ball out to right field. That one drops in. That'll get 2 to the plate. Grandal makes it 11-2 Dodgers. Well, the other unfortunate piece of this one tonight is that this is a Rangers bullpen that have been so good lately, and we really had a fun time kind of documenting all the great accomplishments they've had now over an extended run, 5 or 6 weeks now. But this little exchange here in the fourth inning is going to be a costly one statistically for them. Yasiel Puig, who has doubled and homered and driven in 3.
Because you look at the error from Jurickson Profar, but it's not an error where you can assume the inning was over. The error was allowing runners to advance after the fact, because had they turned that double play, the inning would have been over and there would have been no earned runs for Alex Claudio this evening. But you're right, this Ranger bullpen has been fantastic, as you see Alex overthrow a little bit. Kind of going back to the Ferguson discussion. His pinch hitter struck out, and he got taken out of what is now an 11-2 game.
Grandal at first. The 1-1 to Puig, and that's a little bit outside. 2-1 the count.
So any guesses as far as how hard Cody Bellinger hit that double?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a great one.
Lowest exit velocity of a double this year. I'm going to just throw that out there without any research.
I don't think there's any question. I'm going to say that came off the bat at 52 miles per hour.
Not bad, not a bad guess at all. 45 miles per hour on that double.
It's kind of hard to do.
I mean, it was pretty amazing. Think about choking down that wedge a little bit, taking a little bit off, trying to put some backspin on it, place it perfectly.
Puig strikes out swinging, and this long inning is done. 11 batters came to the plate for the Dodgers, and they have cracked this one wide open, 11-2.
Pizza of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Tonight's lucky winners on the lowest level, section 126, row T's and Tango. Congratulations and enjoy.
Scary moments. Rangers fans, this bud's for you. Well, 4 innings in, it's 11-2 LA. And all that means is the Rangers, if they're going to produce this come from behind win, they're going to do a dramatic one, and it's going to start against Yimi Garcia.
And for Garcia, game number 13 on the season, 9 strikeouts in his 12 1/3. He has allowed a couple of home runs so far this season, and Garcia's got a good fastball, averages 94 miles an hour. You'll see a cutter 87, a slider at 83, and that split finger every once in a while, also averaging right around 87 miles per hour.
So here we go, 5th inning. Top of the order, Chu, DeShields, and Profar. And the first pitch up and away. Boy, good heat right there, 96 miles per hour. This ball well hit center field, way up there, deep out to center field, and gone. A home run for Shin-Soo Choo. 12th home run of the year, and of course, his 2nd hit of the night, and Choo just scorching at the plate these days.
This ball was crushed. You mentioned the good velocity from Garcia. This pitch came in at 94 miles an hour, but high velocity just not an issue for Choo. Got the good, short, compact, powerful swing. It's very difficult to get good fastballs by him, and that one was up, and he knew it. You mentioned how the ball will not carry nearly as much as you get later into the night here in Los Angeles, and that didn't matter. Choo crushed that thing.
So DeShields now, Delino 2 for 2 today. Choo is just unreal right now. And a swing and a miss. The count goes to 0-2 on Delino. A little bit high. So Garcia, his 4th year in the big leagues, and he's been up and down in each of the 4 years. A couple years ago, they made 59 appearances for the Dodgers. Upstairs, and it is 2-2.
Mentioned a good velocity on the fastball. Kind of surprising, 321 batting average against that pitch this season in 12 games for Garcia, but it is all about location. We see guys with good stuff all the time in the big leagues.
Stays 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's a matter not just, obviously the radar gun is secondary to what does it look like to a hitter. Obviously that ball looked pretty good to Choo. Fastball 4-seamer, a little bit of an issue this year for Garcia.
And I should say, when I say he has pitched 4 years in the big leagues, last year he was out. He missed the whole year last year recovering from Tommy John. Stays 2-2. And it is interesting, how quickly and effectively some guys can return from Tommy John surgery, but even more to the point, the velocity that some guys are able to maintain, or in some cases back in the day add to after Tommy John surgery. But he's bringing it. 2-2 pitch. This one on the ground, third base, sliding stop by Turner. He does a nice job over there. Throws out DeShields. 1 away. Well, always good to see a familiar face when we come out to the ballpark. And how about it? There he is, Prince Fielder. His family here today. Emily, they're just hanging out and enjoying life right now, right?
Yes, so they had rented a house in Santa Monica to celebrate Prince's birthday, and so Chanel, when his wife, who's right there to his left, when she found out that the Rangers were playing the Dodgers, she extended the trip so they could come to a baseball game together. She says it's their first baseball game to go to together as a couple. Their sons, Jaden and Haven, who are also huge players in the Rangers clubhouse when Prince was with the Rangers, also here in attendance as well. So good to see the fielders, as always. Prince came down to the dugout, greeted with open arms down here by a lot of the guys.
It's cool, right? I laugh a little bit because you don't even think about that. All the years of playing the game, did you ever actually go and watch a baseball game with your family? Not really.
Profar lifts this one high in the air out to right field. Puig has just enough room. 2 away.
It's just one of those things that doesn't really happen, of course, while you're playing. And that's something you really want to do, is go watch a baseball game in the middle of your career. So it's certainly cool to see Prince here celebrating his birthday. Santa Monica, that's a pretty good spot. How come you don't rent me a house for my birthday?
I thought about it, but
Then you thought better of it.
I thought better of it. I figured you wanted some space.
Yeah, I did. I was totally lying. I'd want to hang out with you on my birthday.
Well, sign on Beltre. Adrian, always a good reaction after those things. 1-0 the count. One ball, one strike. So Beltre with 2 hits tonight, and all that does is add to his career total. Tied with Ichiro, 3,089 hits. Now, you talked about it earlier. It's fun to look at the names and watch him pass these guys. He's got a little ways to go now to get Winfield. High fly ball, center field. Peterson is there, and the inning is done. Some pretty good contact there against Garcia in the inning. Chu with a home run, but it's 11-3 Dodgers. So far in this one. And thanks to T-Mobile, fans can receive a 20% discount on tickets in the all-you-can-eat seats in the home run porch on Fridays. Get your tickets this Friday night with the Rockies in town to take on your Rangers. Coupon code is T-Mobile at TexasRangers.com/special. Okay, bottom of the 5th. Jock Peterson will start things off for the Dodgers, and he takes strike 1 from Alex Claudio. Dodgers sent 11 men to the plate in the 4th inning. Scored 7 runs on 7 hits. It was a tough one tonight for Bartolo Colon. Done early. And his season stats pitching line not helped much by this one. Bouncer right side. Easy hop there for Guzman, and Peterson retired. One away. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's say hello to John Radigan. Now that is bad news. One of the greats of the game lost for the year, and an already difficult 2018 in Detroit just got a little bit worse, or maybe a lot worse.
35-year-old Miguel Cabrera under contract until 2023 with the Tigers, and he is a guy. Certainly a lot of expectations on where he will be able to finish on multiple lists, all-time lists, when his career starts to get near the end. But things get slowed down a little bit as you see what's happening in that American League Central.
Hard ground ball up the middle. That's a base hit for Enrique Hernandez. Dodgers have another man on base.
Number 3, Chris Taylor.
Back to the top of the order. Now Taylor tonight, 1 for 3. We said earlier the Dodgers got off to a bad start this year. What was it, 16-26? They were 10 games under 500. And that was in mid-May, but they just seemingly turned it like on a dime. They've gone like 18-6 since then, rather 17-6 since then, and gotten back into this race in the National League West, 3 back of Arizona. Swing and a miss by Taylor. It's 1-1.
And it's always a little bit easier. You get off to that slow start. Nobody wants to get off to a slow start. Talk about it all the time, and where you're sitting at the end of April. It's always a little bit easier when you have a lineup that is as good as this. Starting rotation, start to feel confident, even though they've had a ton of injuries. And the idea of coming back from a deficit works when you got a good roster.
In the air, down that right side, fair ball, and then up into the seats. And that might actually work to the Rangers' advantage. Hernandez has to stop at third base on the automatic double by Chris Taylor.
Seen some unusual luck here for the Rangers tonight. And watch this ball come down, and look how you landed right on the chalk. And it certainly did, and on the outer half of that chalk. It just bounces right into the stands. Not hit hard. We mentioned and showed you that Bellinger double that he hit at 45 miles an hour off the bat, and now this little blooper ends up hitting the line. Look at that's amazing.
So 2 men in scoring position. Max Muncy had a good night at the plate already, and he takes a strike. Muncy with a home run and a single. I just can't help it.
What do you got?
Well, when I see his name, I immediately think Max Muncy.
Oh, really?
The writer and the character in The Natural. Right? The guy who would sneak in and watch Roy Hobbs taking batting practice, was trying to sniff out all the stories and all that stuff. Max Muncy. Now, I'm trying to think when the movie came out.
The Natural?
Yeah, that might have been.
So I'm going to say 89. I'll look for you, but I think that's about when it came. What do you think? Released 1984.
84. Okay. So I wonder if that went into his name.
So what year was he born?
Well, he was born in his birthday.
You sure?
Yeah. He was born in 1990.
All right.
So 6 years later, mom and dad maybe big baseball fans.
Yeah.
Thought that would be kind of fun. Right? Because, like, did it cross your mind?
No. Roy Munson from Kingpin.
Really?
Yeah.
Ground ball shortstop. Profar has it and throws out Muncy, but he'll pick up an RBI. Hernandez scores from third base. 12-3 Dodgers.
Well, that came out in 1996, so that there's no way there's an association there.
Number 10, Justin Turner.
It's all 2 away now, and here is Justin Turner.
I was showing Prince Fielder earlier. It is difficult for guys. A lot of them don't like to watch the game afterwards. You hear that pretty often. The game is past you, and obviously with Prince, the injuries and early into his career. But I've always found it interesting when I was active and playing and talking to teammates that wouldn't even watch the postseason. Some guys just hate watching baseball, and then when guys are done, it can be a little bit difficult to either go back to a ball game, watch games on TV.
Do you think it's that they're burnt out, or that it just hurts because they wanted to be there so badly? Or
I think it's probably more of the latter for guys. They struggle a little bit because they miss it, because you kind of completely lose perspective, right? If you watch games growing up a little bit, maybe your favorite big league stadium that you got to go to, and that all that excitement, then you actually got to go live it. And then on the back end, going back and watching games can be a little bit depressing for guys, discouraging.
Little chopper second base. Odor is there, and he throws out Turner to end the inning. Well, this one has not gone well so far, but we go to the 6th inning, see if the Rangers can get it going offensively. Wrap this series up tomorrow night. Just like that. We just got here. Then an off day on Thursday. Very short homestand. Rockies in town over the weekend, and it's back to the road for the Rangers. Tough little stretch. Although they will have a nice big homestand at the conclusion of that roadie. Like a 3-team homestand. After the White Sox, I believe the Astros are in. So that's just a little look ahead. Rangers need to get through this one tonight and see what they can get going tomorrow in the final game. This is their first interleague game of the year. Joey Gallo will start things off here in the 6th inning. Gallo, Guzman, and Chirinos. Edward Paredes, the new pitcher.
They are just game number 4. For Paredes, you'll see a fastball just averages 89 miles per hour, slider at 79, and the changeup at 82.
Gallo swings and misses. And the count 0-2. How about this? You see the 3 infielders over on the right side. The one thing you don't see there is a shortstop. It's because he's way out and left. Working with a 4-man outfield a la the Houston Astros in the opening game of the season.
It's really interesting, and you look at the score, of course, and a couple different ways to look at it. Should Joey Gallo think about practicing bunting in this situation? I mean, obviously you need a lot of base runners. Or do you want to continue to take your at-bats through against the lefty, kind of working on that part of it as well? We mentioned earlier, as far as Joey Gallo, Nomar Mazara, losing the most hits in the game right now because of the shift.
2-2. This, I mean, I get the analytics.
Yep.
This is silly to me. This is just, it's goofing around.
They didn't have Forrest. Did they have Forrest first at bat?
No, they did not.
So they go based on the pitcher.
Clearly.
What they think. I think based off the fact with this lefty and his stuff that Joey will not hit a ground ball to the left side.
Well, he strikes out swinging, 1 away here in the 6th inning. Well, this is one of the grand old ballparks, and one of the iconic items here, of course, a Dodger dog. A little more on that. Let's check in with Emily.
Yeah, and talking to a couple of the first-timers here to Dodgers Stadium, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and also Ronald Guzman, asked them about, playing here. Everybody very nostalgic about playing in such a historic ballpark, and also, too, about the potential of the Dodger dogs. And Ronald told me that before tonight's game, there was some hot dogs brought in with all the fixins, and he partook and thought that they were very good, guys.
Yeah, well, they're Dodger dogs. It better be good. CJ's had 2.
That's incorrect. Not yet, I haven't at least. Still plenty of time left in this game.
1-1 the count on Guzman. Pardon me. 0-2. Yeah, they're, look, you associate with the Dodgers, Vin Scully and Dodger dogs. And of course, this great old ballpark, the 3rd oldest ballpark in Major League Baseball. Fly ball, hanging up out there to left field. 2 away. What else you got, Emily?
Yeah, so I asked Ronald exactly how. So he said they brought the hot dogs in, and then you could kind of fix them up the way you wanted. So he said he went ketchup, mayo, mustard, some sort of chili concoction, and hot sauce.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well,
onions. I said onions. I don't know if onions are a thing, but I asked if he put onions. He said they were available. He opted out of the onions.
I'll stay away from the acidity, I guess, on the hot dog after everything else that's on there. Onions can't go onions.
So I must admit, I have not had a Dodger dog. I was here in 2015. I didn't have one. At least if I did, I don't remember.
Well, let me ask you this, Emily. Have you ever had a hot dog?
I've had a hot dog.
Yeah, you've more or less had a Dodger dog. I mean, we love it.
That's going to anger some people, Dave Raymond.
Well, I mean, it kind of is what it is. It's a hot dog that they call a Dodger dog.
Is there anything special about it? The way it's cooked, or where the dogs
length,
come
I
from?
guess. It's length. They're a little longer than your typical hot dog.
I mean, we have boomsticks in Texas. I mean, come on.
They're
I
good.
feel like I know where this is headed, I hope.
Well, competition?
Well, no. Just
Emily eating a Dodger dog and then comparing it at home?
Not on television.
Well, in the break, we can get together. If I know what time concessions shut down, make sure we got one.
Well, there's a bunch down the hall.
This rumor around here takes about 90 minutes to get out of this parking lot, so something to do on the ride home.
If you buy them, CJ.
Oh, come in. That's it. That's all it takes.
Oh, man.
Sold.
We all rode together to the ballpark today.
Yeah.
We might as well have some entertainment on the way home.
Sign me up.
So when I used to come through here doing radio, the trick was when you had your innings off, you would sneak into the eating room here, the dining room. You get a Dodger dog, and then you would listen to Vin Scully. For like an inning. And sneak back in again. High fly, left field, and that one hangs up a little bit for count, and he puts it away. So 1-2-3, top of the 6th inning. Rangers right now trailing by 9 here at Dodger Stadium.
sharing a photo or video with hashtag Hats Off for Heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Well, we go to the bottom of the 6th inning here tonight. And it is 12-9. Dodgers, and Tony Barnett has come in here now for the Rangers.
That's been a good year for Tony. You take a look at the pitch arsenal for him this year. That fastball at 92 miles an hour. A lot of cutter usage at 22. The curveball at 25. From the right-hander this year, Tony Barnett. He's been very good against both lefties and righties. 191 against lefties, 222 batting average against righties.
It's a big swing and a miss. His first offering. Carlos Perez checks in as well, and here we go, CJ, our first double switch. Barnett bats in the 7th spot of the order. Perez moves into the 9 hole. And the count 1-1 after that check swing.
So going back to that Ron Guzman story, he totally redeemed himself because Emily kicked it off with ketchup.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is a cardinal sin of ballparks, to put ketchup on your hot dog. But if you're going to add the mayonnaise and the mustard and jalapenos or whatever else is involved.
CJ just leaned out of the booth and waved to the fans. They adore you here.
Yeah.
It never
Yep.
ceases to amaze me.
I am huge in Southern California.
What a great reaction.
Still trying to figure out why. No idea why, but you give the people what they want, Dave.
That is always a big surprise for me, but I do enjoy that. 1-2 pitch. And it's in the dirt, 2-2.
So I used to, I think I've told you this story before, when I played in Detroit for a while, they had in the 5th inning where they would do this thing in between innings where the fans would have to yell first base side, right, third base side. It would be like a tug of war on the screen depending on which side yelled louder. Nice job by Tony right there.
Kemp strikes out swinging, one away here in the 6th inning.
So it would get really loud in the ballpark in between innings in the 5th inning, and that was usually the inning that I would go down to the bullpen. So I would come out of the dugout, and I'd go over to third base umpire before I made my way out to the bullpen. I'd say, you know, I'm just an average relief pitcher, nothing special about what I'm doing. I said, but I am absolutely loved here in Detroit. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna jog out to the bullpen right now and listen to this ovation I get as I go out to the bullpen. And I'd take off, and then they'd start that tug of war thing, and the entire stadium would be screaming at the top of their lungs. And I'd look back at the umpire as I got near the bullpen, and he would just look at me like, you're an idiot. And he was right.
Yes, he was. Pitch to Bellinger, a little high. 2-0. Bellinger has reached all 3 times. A walk, a single, and an infield double. It's up and away, 3-0, and you can see Barnett not happy with himself after that one.
He fell off the mound a little bit. We talk about this all the time. Extension is really important in release. You can fall off the mound, but if you start to spin a little bit too early, then that ball will run on your arm side and get away from you a little bit. I think that's what we saw on that pitch from Tony.
3-0. That one down the middle.
We were talking about this earlier and how good this Rangers bullpen has been. We talked about it in our open as well, going back to May 6th, putting up some unbelievable numbers. A little bit of a different situation for a lot of these guys right now. Alex Claudio coming in and Tony Barnett coming in, and down by 9, it just doesn't have that same intensity, same feeling. We had the conversation about this with closers all the time, non-save situations, and as frustrating as it might be for fans and saying, just go pitch regardless of situation, the reality is that sometimes the situation will dictate your adrenaline.
Way in, and he walks Bellinger. Man on, 1 out, and here you go. Yep. The Dodger dog. This is it. It's a long, really long hot dog in a bun. That's
that you touch with your bare hand.
I mean, they're good, mostly because you're at a ball game, and they're hot dogs. Hot dogs are good, but I think
they're
other
delicious.
than that.
So based on the fact that you put your fingerprints on it, tells me you're not going to eat it.
Why?
Oh, you are. I don't know. Just knowing you the way that I do, I didn't think you would touch your food with your bare hand and then eat it.
It's a hot dog. You have to touch it with your bare hand.
Now mustard. You haven't put
I
it
got a
on
little
yet.
mustard here. Yeah.
Are you gonna put it on?
Well, yeah, I like mustard on my dog.
No cabbage.
No.
No, there's no such thing as a cabbage dog the way there is the cabbage burger.
No,
Your
it
favorite
would
from home.
probably be pretty good. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Sorry for getting my nasty mitt in the middle there, but yeah, of course.
It's pretty good. But is there anything different about the Dodger dog than your average hot dog in a ball game? I'll say probably not.
Probably not, but here's what I will say. Like in any of these scenarios, it's really about the ratio of hot dog to bun.
Yep.
And maybe that's what they've mastered. Maybe it's just a really good hot dog to bun ratio.
You think so?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's like any Philly cheesesteak, right? The quality of the bread matters as well.
For sure.
And the later you get in the game, it'll get a little crusty on the outside.
Little roller down to first, and Guzman steps on the bag. Grandal is the second out of the inning, but the runner, Bellinger, moves up to second.
So you mentioned the ratio. Do you have an ideal? I mean, I'm assuming you want more dog than bread, but
Well,
what are you looking for?
I don't really know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's got to be a reason why it has succeeded so well. Somebody in the analytics department has probably worn out the numbers on that. We walked into the
How about that place
little bit
today?
of the laboratory today by accident.
Who are these knuckleheads? What are they doing in here? We're trying to find the visitors' clubhouse, and things have changed here. I haven't been here. I haven't had to go down to the visitors' dugout maybe since 1998 or so. I can't remember the last time I was here as a player, but I didn't know where I was going. You were leading us there. You obviously didn't know where you were going, and we take a turn into where we thought was the clubhouse, and it was.
Used to be.
Just a while ago, and it turned into a bunch of cubicles. They still had the lockers in there.
And the sign that says Visitors Clubhouse.
Yeah, that's true, which is, that'll hold up in our defense. You walk in, there's a bunch of guys sitting at computers, and then I realized as we left, there was a big sign that said Dodgers Analytical Department.
In the dirt.
And they didn't seem too happy to see us there. But they have the door wide open, so it's not like it's completely top secret. A lot of big screens, a lot of number crunching going on. And I thought I heard a guy say, regardless of score, Ferguson's out after 4. Get him out of there. I could be wrong. But it was quite the laboratory they had going on.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to kind of stumble behind the curtain there. Inside and 2-1.
A lot of teams are very protective of that information, how they use it. More often than not, don't let any of those people talk to the media. We have a lot of information that's available publicly, but a lot of teams have their own proprietary way of doing things and information that they use, and they certainly don't want anything getting out.
They were not unfriendly. It's not like they kicked us out or anything.
No.
They looked up and kind of wondered what we were doing, but we were dressed well, so maybe they thought we, belonged.
Maybe. Well, I don't think we looked as smart as they were. Far.
So we looked lost, as we were. 3-1.
But I would love to sit there, and you can't do it, but I would love to sit there, ask questions, kind of get an idea of what they do. Talk about teams. I was mentioning this to you. There's the trend of when you see a team take on a pitcher, say Charlie Morton with the Astros as an example, and get more out of him than other teams have, and it has to do with what they believe is his pitch usage and how to use it better. I'm curious how they get to that point. What do they see? Is it just a spin rate? Is it the reaction? Is it a trend in the game? Whatever it may be. Curveball over slider with Morton was part of his story as well, right? Use that curveball more. That's going to be really effective. Now, that's something that a pitching coach may have come to a conclusion with his eyes years ago, but now there's more data to back it up. I'm pretty fascinated by the whole thing and how you get there and decisions that are made, and then the back and forth between that group, and all teams have them, and then the coaching staff, which ultimately really relays that information to the players and what you want them to do, and when it doesn't work out, dealing with the blowback for the players and say, I got a ground ball to second, but nobody was there. What are you guys thinking? All that.
Well, Pete strikes out, and the inning is done, and the Dodgers leave a man in the 6th inning. Yeah, they're lining up for those Dodger dogs. 12-3. our score as we head to the 7th inning. Maybe you saw a little bit of this earlier in the week. What a story of high school baseball. Mountain View senior Ty Keene struck out his best buddy, Jack Koken, at the end of a Class 4A Section 5 baseball final last week. His team celebrated, but he went right to the plate to see his old buddy. As he said after the game, he said, I knew I had to say something. Our friendship, much more important than just the silly outcome of the game. I had to make sure he knew that before we celebrated. Really one of the feel-good, neat stories in baseball comes at the high school level. Game in St. Paul, Minnesota, last Wednesday. But that was pretty cool. Fun to see. Ty Keene and Jack Koken. And I think hats off, right? I think most people, I believe the reaction is like, that is cool. Two friends, that should come first.
That was fantastic and a really nice moment, and I got to believe some proud parents in that situation as well. I mean, it's so easy to be self-absorbed, and it certainly is in sports. It's almost encouraged to some degree. And to put a friend first in what was no doubt a difficult moment for him is a really great example for all.
Now 7th inning. And the changes just keep coming. This is National League style now. Daniel Corsino, just his 2nd game this year. He was brought up Saturday from AAA Oklahoma City with his Dodger debut.
It's a deep bullpen right now here in Los Angeles as you see Odor ground out the second. It is a situation that they're in right now, and they knew. We've been talking a lot about Ferguson and only throwing the 4 innings despite leaving with an 11-2 lead. But this bullpen right now, is it 9 that they had? Up to 10.
Yeah, I think we counted 9 before the game today. Well, 1 out. And now Carlos Perez, who came in at catcher last inning. He watches ball 1. Five for 20 against the Dodgers in his career. Waiver claim from the Braves earlier this year. And he takes on the corner. It's 1-1. Well, I think this qualifies more or less as a blowout game.
I think
to that end, the Dodgers may be taking some precautions at this point. 2-1 now to count.
No, I think you're right. Dave Roberts certainly happy with this club, the way they've been playing as of late, what he has seen so far from them this evening, and there's an opportunity here. Right now it's been every pitcher that's come out of the bullpen has thrown an inning. That may continue for a while.
Oh, pop up near third. Handled by Turner. 2 away. So defensively they made a couple of changes. Muncy moved over to first base from second base, and Valera came in to play second. You see Peterson has moved from center field to left. Cody Bellinger has moved from first base out to center. Kemp out of the game. And Valera in basically is that's the net on that, all of that humanity moving around. Here is Chu. And he takes inside. Chu's 2 for 3 again today, and just continues to be locked in. And part of it has been that little change this year, that from the toe tap to the leg lift. It's kept him higher. You go back to the 5th inning, and this was the big home run.
Yeah, Chu again continuing to do an excellent job, and you really can't get a fastball by him. It doesn't happen very often, and a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, a non-issue for him as he crushed that ball to dead center field.
2-1 the count. I say that leg kick keeps him high, keeps him taller, a little more straight up. Felt like last year he was dipping a little bit, getting down too deep a crouch, and then his head was moving up and down as the pitch would come. So I went to this little leg lift or coil. Taps there, but he'll lift it. There it is. It keeps him more upright, allows him to stay back. He taps out here to the mound to complete a 1-2-3 inning. Overall, though, it's been working really well for him. Corsino perfect in the 7th. Seventh here today. Hey, tonight we're participating in the Home Run Challenge. Every home run in this game raises money for prostate cancer research. Since June 1st, $525,000 have been raised in the challenge. You can make a pledge by going to homerunchallenge.org. Now here we go in the bottom of the 7th as Tony Barnett comes out for a second inning of work. Gets a strike in there to Jock Peterson. Peterson with a home run and a double, and a breaking ball finds a corner. It's 0-2. And the Rangers acting similarly here in this blowout. Hanser Alberto takes over at third base. Beltre gets off his feet.
We've seen Peterson swinging a pretty good bat tonight. This should be a good matchup for Tony. Now, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. He's got the really good cutter that he can use well against lefties, right? But the other thing that happens in these games, now it's only a 2-game series, so it probably doesn't come into play as much, but it's a reality. You come out of the bullpen and you're facing a guy in a nothing situation like this, but maybe a guy you could be facing in a bigger situation over the course of a series. I learned this early in my career, and I was kind of almost a non-believer early on, but became a believer as I got older, about how you approach these at-bats.
Pop up into the seats.
And in the way of saying, okay, well, you know what, it's 12-3. I know where I can get this guy out. Let's just say it's the cutter in for Tony. So, I know if I get my cutter in on his hands, that's the place I can get Jock Peterson out. Do I want to show him that in this kind of game? Right, it's 12-3. I may have to face him as a pinch hitter tomorrow night in the 8th inning of a game that is a lot tighter. Maybe they're winning by 1 or whatever it may be. And do you want him to see that same pitch twice in a row?
Well, Peterson sends this one out to center field past the Shields, and he will have his 3rd extra base hit of the night. Another double, this one to lead off the 7th. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in again with John Radigan. All right, thanks, John.
Okay, so after doing our reveals today that we did in the
Yeah.
pregame show, right, with the 23andMe and which countries we're pulling for, based on our genealogy and the reports that we got done, I'm kind of thinking once the World Cup starts, we're going to be getting updates on our countries from John Radigan. I feel like that should be part of the game breaks.
I think that would be good. I'd kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only interested in what Team Poland's doing and what Team Sweden's doing.
Have you not jumped into the World Cup fever in the past? Gotten kind of swept up in it?
A little bit. Yeah, I'll watch it here and there. I like it. It's definitely exciting. I think I told you this, but one of the greatest experiences I ever had was watching World Cup in other countries with that country's fans and how they watch the game.
Yeah.
Back in 2010, I was in Asia and spent some time in Korea with some friends of mine during the World Cup. Game was on at 2 o'clock in the morning in Seoul.
This ball out to center field, but the Shields is there.
And there was people everywhere watching the game. I was in a hotel suite with a friend of mine, a bunch of his friends were watching the game. You look down and what essentially was Times Square in Korea. 200,000 people outside watching the game on a big screen. The game started at 2 a.m. or the match, I guess, right? Started at 2 a.m. And they made a rule. I couldn't believe this. It was because the game was on so late, because so many people were watching it, you know, a lot of country pride. Nobody had to go to work countrywide until 12 o'clock the next day. I didn't even know you could do that.
That's a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. And then a week later, I was in Japan in an English-speaking bar watching Team USA play. And also, Team England was playing at the same time. It was really cool to kind of experience the World Cup from different vantage points.
Another fly ball, a little pop-up actually, out to short left field. Handled by Profar. So 2 away. Well, the 2018 FIFA World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1 with every match live and over 300 hours of additional coverage. It's the world's biggest sporting event. It's just 2 days away. Only on Fox and FS1. I love it. I get into it every time it comes around. Now, I know nothing about soccer, and I only know a handful of names, and mostly because of my kids. But it's awesome. It is just great theater. It reminds me a little bit when we had the World Baseball Classic, right? The certain atmosphere and energy and just sort of that patriotic feel. I get a big kick out of it every time.
Well, it's amazing to watch, again, just how people take in their sports in different parts of the world. You mentioned the World Cup. That is certainly a really cool experience for baseball fans. And you get a big matchup here in Dodger Stadium from, you know, whatever. It's Cuba and Mexico getting after it. And it's a completely different experience than the way that we take baseball in here and watch it and how loud it gets. International soccer is pretty special. They got us beat for sure as far as the experience in the stadium, or if you're out even watching the game with friends.
Max Muncy with a couple of hits, 2 for 4. And he takes strike 3 called. He knew it. Goes down looking, and the inning is done. So Barnett puts up a goose egg in the 7th. It's 12-3.
and the Dodgers offense exploded against Bartolo Colon when it was all said and done. It was 3 home runs. There's one from Yasiel Puig, but it wasn't just the home runs going gap to gap as well. 9 total hits off of Yasiel Puig, and then even this one, 45 miles an hour off the bat. It was a double for Cody Bellinger, and it seemed like everything was going right for the Dodgers, and then Shin-Soo Choo chipped in with a bomb to dead center field off a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. But 3 home runs for the Dodgers this evening, 1 for the Rangers, and that is where we stand after a 7-run 4th inning. Dodgers lead at 12-3.
So 8th inning. Delano with a couple of hits tonight. And he takes strike 1 from Daniel Corsino, back out for a 2nd inning of work. Corsino went 1-2-3 to the Rangers in the 7th. The first interleague game of the year. So we play National League rules here in LA. And that might excite some fans. I might like to see that. Some folks get a kick out of seeing the different style of play. We've seen a couple of double switches tonight by the Dodgers. This one got away early from the Rangers, so they haven't really had to maneuver a whole lot strategically. There are some people who scoff just a little bit or laugh at the notion that there seems to be more strategy and maneuvering in the National League. They poo-poo the notion and say, like, it's baseball. Let's just try not to oversell that bit of it. And I get it. I do like it. I like the National League style.
You do.
It's kind of fun.
I mean, listen, it's fun to watch Bartolo Colon hit. Right? We have a little fun with it. But is it better baseball? For me, that answer is no. I'd rather see the universal DH. They get little strategies here and there, and they definitely matter. But I even wonder, we saw what happened with Ferguson. Would he have stayed in the game if he didn't have to be pinch hit for? I don't know, based on the Dodgers' theories of 3rd time through the order. But I'd much rather see a position player, a real hitter, hit in those spots. I know there's been some really cool moments. Bartolo hitting the home run, or watching Madison Bumgarner take Clayton Kershaw deep. Yeah. That's cool, no doubt about it. But I mean, what is that? Maybe do we get 5% of pitcher at bats that are intriguing and worth watching? 10 on the high end? Not enough for me.
You're a pitcher who once plunked 3 consecutive hitters. So I understand why you might not be interested in going up to the plate yourself.
I did that in the National League too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, in Miami.
That wasn't smart.
No, it was not.
Profar 0 for 3. I want to say best wishes today. Mary Klingon in Little Rock, watching along in her hospital bed today with family, and she is a huge Rangers fan. And as she convalesces with us tonight, little late night baseball on TV. Mary, we hope you feel better real soon, and awfully glad to have you along with us tonight. I hope we keep some people company from time to time. We just want a little company. As this one lifted out to left field and handled by Peterson. 1 away. Okay, tomorrow we'll wrap this thing up. Enough of this National League style baseball. Rangers and Dodgers, final game of this quick 2-game series. Cole Hamels has the start for the Rangers, a former National League superstar when he was with the Phillies, and has good numbers against the Dodgers. Kenta Maeda will be coming off the disabled list tomorrow for LA. So he will be back in the rotation. And that'll have some pretty large implications for a Dodgers team trying to fight their way back into these National League West standings. Just 3 games out coming into play today. Way in and got away from Grandal, and that will allow DeShields to go to second base.
You see the frustration there on the face of Grandal. Even though a lot of movement on this pitch, most likely will go down as a pass ball against him. His 4th pass ball of the season. Take a look at this here. They're trying to go away. That ball just kind of ran. Did they say wild pitch?
Yeah, I think they did.
What in the world? I mean, he missed the spot, no doubt, and the ball had some run to it, but it's a pass ball every time.
Again, pitcher's perspective.
That's a good point. Totally biased.
I mean,
we've got to hit our spots all the time.
it was kind of wild.
I mean, if you want to use the word wild in its true definition, yes. In the baseball definition, it was not that wild. Well, we'll see. We got one call change. We'll see if we get another one. We know they're listening.
I mean, Maurice Sendak would say that was a wild pitch.
Yeah, he did say it was a wild pitch already, didn't he?
Well, our official score did. Maurice Sendak was where the wild things are.
Oh.
Children's book. 1-2 pitch. Ground ball. Shortstop. And they will throw out Alberto. 2 away. All right, time for a word now from our friends from Kia.
At Kia, get America's best value backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
All right, 2 outs now. Shields hanging out there at second base. And Joey Gallo with a shot. Gallo drove in a run in the 3rd inning. He's 0 for 3.
I did not watch batting practice today, but I'm curious for Joey Gallo. Think he can get to the awning?
Yep,
Is
I
that
think he
officially
can.
called the awning, or does it have a different name?
I don't know. I don't know if it has a standard name or.
A bit tougher at night to be able to do it
right
in a game.
Oh, ooh. Got in and got a piece of Gallo. So a walk and a hit batter in the inning.
Sure they won't call that a wild pitch too? This one came in pretty firm, and you see Joey trying to turn in. Caught some jersey, but also a little bit of skin. I did not feel very great.
Well, inning continues now. Guzman has struck out tonight, flied out twice. He's 0 for 3. So Corsino was 1-2-3 in the 7th inning, but a walk and a hit batter here in the 8th.
I wonder for Ronald Guzman, first time for him going through this at the big league level. Come to the ballpark, don't see your name in the lineup. Kind of go through your pregame routine, a little bit different than when you know you're starting. And he's a professional, and probably not a huge deal, but I do wonder a little bit. Thinking, okay, I'll be playing the bench. Maybe I have to come in for defense later. Or if there's any kind of double switch, obviously, is much more on the table. You're in a National League ballpark for these guys. Not a lot of time before the game. Nomar Mazara, flu-like symptoms, comes out of the starting lineup, and Guzman inserted in. Now his 4th plate appearance.
2-1 the count. Top of the 8th inning here. Bottom of the 8th, looks like Matt Bush be the likely candidate. Barnett, a couple of scoreless innings, so more than likely turn it over to Matt Bush. Well, Corsino is trying to get to the finish line in this 2nd inning of relief, and he's having a little trouble.
Interesting to see him go to a 2-1 changeup in that spot. You're up by 9. A couple of runners on and 2 outs. But at the same time, a guy that's trying to earn his manager's trust, and so you don't want to just give in and necessarily throw fastballs down the middle. But what's most important is that you throw strikes in these spots.
And he does. It makes it a full count. Last Rangers hit was the Chu home run in the 5th inning. Had 6 hits tonight. Runners go, and that one fouled off.
It's a good job by Ronald Guzman. That was a tough pitch right on the corner, 3-2 count. Fouls it off. We had talked about where he stands among rookies and the RBIs and how good he's been in those spots. Well, part of that is your ability to fight off a really tough pitch. Now, ultimately, that pitch finished out of the zone, but it's a strike most of the way. Instead of taking any chances, he's able to foul it off.
Hard hit ball. Whoa, down there to first base, and that got Buechele on the foot. He's a tough dude, but that got on him in a hurry.
It certainly did, and you'll see Ronald Guzman catch his ball out front a little bit, and watch Steve Buechele could not quite get out of the way in time. There was a time he could have got out of the way a little bit quicker, but it's, you're so locked into what you're doing down there, these coaches, regardless of score, that it's one of the last things you're really thinking about. You're watching, making sure in this situation for Joey Gallo, you have your first baseman in Muncy who is playing behind, so you want to make sure that they don't slip in there, don't try a backdoor pick or anything like that. You probably wouldn't expect to see this at this score, but it doesn't matter. As a coach, you got to be alert, you got to be on it. Ronald Guzman's putting together now a really tough at bat.
The 9th pitch of the at bat right here, and it misses low to load the bases. Another walk. 2 walks and a hit batter. And of course, just seems to be running out of gas or something here.
Really comfortable, as you mentioned, in that first outing, and this is just his 2nd game this season. He last pitched in the big leagues in 2014. Pitched just 5 games and had 3 starts. So this is game number 7 for him in his career, 27 years old. He's going to get a visit from Rick Honeycutt.
Carlos Tocci was announced as the pinch hitter, so they're going to talk that over. Hey, the Rangers and Dr. Pepper are teaming up to bring you savings in the ballpark this year. All you have to do, bring a Dr. Pepper can to the box office, or you can use the online coupon code Dr. Pepper. You get your tickets starting at just $11. Go to TexasRangers.com/specials. Get your tickets for this Sunday afternoon. Rockies, Rangers, Father's Day, Dr. Pepper. First of all, bucket hat. My goodness. A lot going on. Our conversation is done. And here is Carlos Tocci. Tocci hitting for Tony Barnett here, and the first pitch comes in and just missed him.
So obviously you're Carlos Tocci, you're thinking about, just trying to put a quality at bat together, but could have been his first big league RBI. Had that ball hit him.
Yeah. I'm with you. That was one of those two where, it's always easier in hindsight to think, oh, if I would have just let my elbow roll through a little bit there, take it off that pad. 1-1. Ground ball, right side of the infield. Valera throws him out, and the inning is done. The Rangers will leave him loaded. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's a 12-3 game. Sometimes spirit just kind of grabs you. That's all right. That is all
wow.
right.
I think he's practiced that a few times. Yeah, it's just instinct.
That is pretty special stuff. All right, Matt Bush coming on here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And there's that arsenal for Matt Bush. A good fastball 63% of the time and averaging 96 miles an hour for Matt Bush this year. He's got a whiff rate of 17% on that pitch, but the curveball has been even better. 23% usage, 80 miles an hour average velocity, but a 36% whiff rate on that pitch for Matt Bush this season. These pitches that are swung at, better than 1 out of every 3 swung at and missed when he throws that curveball.
Well, he gets a 3, 4, and 5 spots here in the 8th inning. Turner's hit came in the 3rd inning. He was picked off 3rd to end that inning. At the time, might have been a pretty big play. It was a 4-2 game, but in the next frame, the Dodgers sent 11 men to the plate. That was in the 4th. Scored 7 runs, and certainly have not looked back. Well, the Rangers had a couple of things going coming into this. One was the excellent play of the bullpen. And this ball smacked down the 3rd baseline, and that's a fair ball down into that left field corner. Turner will have extra bases. Lead off double here in the 8th inning.
These guys continue to hit. 16th hit on the night now for the Dodgers. There's the breakabout. Talked about how good it's been. A pretty good one by Matt Bush in that spot. 2-1 count, thinking about trying to get a strike, and he threw a strike, but Justin Turner was on it, ready for it. Mention how good that curveball has been for Matt Bush this year. Just a 182 batting average on that pitch, so it's a nice job by Turner.
And the very next pitch, foul way out of play. Strike on Daniel Corsino. Getting a chance to bat here in this ball game, so he will go out for a 9th inning. That would be, at the very least, interesting.
He had 6 starts in AAA this year, 4 relief appearances and 36 innings, so they certainly look at him as a guy that can stretch it out a little bit. He does have a big league hit. Back in 2014, he went 1 for 3 as a member of the Cincinnati Reds in his 5 plate appearances. This isn't bad for a pitcher. 5 at-bats, no strikeouts. It's pretty special.
That was pretty good.
But that was back in 2014 when the guys didn't strike out. So maybe he's changed his approach as well. A little bigger with the swing.
Looking to elevate a little bit here.
He looks locked in.
Well, the 0-2. And he stays alive, so trying to stay out of that strikeout. Corsino has thrown 2 scoreless innings in relief so far. Of course, with a 9-run lead, his feeling is let him eat up another inning. And part of that too, the Dodgers, their bullpen, we mentioned the offense has ignited recently. Their bullpen has been very good as well on this 17-6 run. But they have thrown a lot of innings. Outside. So during this stretch where they have won 17 of their last 23 games, the Dodgers bullpen has thrown 99 innings, and there's only one other team who's used their bullpen more extensively, and that would be the Tampa Bay Rays. This one in on the hands, and Corsino fouls it back.
They're going to mess up that whole stat, aren't they? Right? Because think about this: those times that they have Sergio Romo throw an inning, and then the quote-unquote starter comes in and throws 5, well, that's going to count as 5 relief innings.
You're right. You're right. So even that number, it's a very good point.
Thanks. I'll try to make one every 3 or 4 games.
Have somebody mark that down as Corsino strikes out swinging, 1 away. All right, time for a word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock, only at southwestkia.com.
All right, one out. First strikeout of the night for Bush. Cody Bellinger takes a little bit in for a ball. Bellinger today, 2 for 2. Couple of walks. On the inside corner, 1-1.
Good breaking ball from Matt Bush, who's been better, at least from a batting average standpoint, against lefties this season over righties. He came in with a 208 batting average against lefties. Very good for a right-handed reliever. 279 against the righties. And you can see why with the good breaking ball and that combination.
This one gets away, and Turner scrambles over to third base.
Take a look here, and what Matt Bush was trying to do with this fastball was go in and just cut on him a little bit. And this is a spot, but not enough for me where that would be a wild pitch.
It's got to be fastball, right?
I would think so.
There we go. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Bellinger. Bellinger batting in the 5th spot on the order tonight, and fights that one off as well. What a key piece he was last year for this Dodgers team. They won 104 games last year. You mentioned some of the accomplishments he had as the Rookie of the Year and setting the new National League rookie home run record with 39. And all the individual accolades are right out there to be measured, looked at. You can see the numbers. He was obviously very good, but I think what was interesting to me was there were 35 games last year that he did not start for the Dodgers, and they went 15-20, 5 games under 500. In the games he did start, the Dodgers went 89-38. Now he's just one guy in the lineup, and they were able to use him in several different spots last year, but individual numbers, great. The effect, ostensibly, you could say he had on the team's overall performance based on the record when he started and when he did not. That's stunning. And he strikes out swinging here, 2 away.
You might have to stop by the analytics layer, run that by him and ask him what that's all about. See if they have an answer. But nice job here by Matt Bush to get a good hitter out there. Is that good curveball down in the zone at 80 miles an hour. A very good swing there from Cody Bellinger.
Bush trying to strike out the side here in the 8th inning. He just misses to Grandal. 2 for 4 tonight. This ball high in the air, left side. And Gallo coming in. He'll make the play. Inning done. Dodgers leave a man. Last chance for the Rangers coming up. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas.
Well, it is time for our Southwest Airlines player breakdown, and let's get to the work that Shin Soo Choo has done this evening. He led off the third inning with a base hit and later scored the first run of the game, and then he led off the fifth inning with a home run to dead center field. And check this out, he has now reached base safely in 27 straight games. The overall number is pretty incredible for Choo, that .320 batting average. It has been a very good run for the Rangers. DH every once in a while, right fielder, supposed to be left fielder this evening. Choo is locked in right now, and leadoff hitters, we say this all the time, a lot of times they only lead off the game, but he actually had 3 opportunities to lead off innings. He went 2 for 3 in those opportunities.
Yeah, so another trend that continues to go well. Here's Rougned Odor, 0 for 2 with a walk. Love to see Rugi get a hit here in this 9th inning, because lately we have seen his at-bats improving. Rolls this one up the middle, though, to Taylor. And he's retired quickly for out number 1.
So maybe the craziest part of this wild game is that Daniel Corsino, if he can finish this inning, would indeed pick up a save. Unless the official scorer decides that he wants to give him the win, because the win is up for grabs.
You're right. All right, so what do you want?
He's going to give it to him. He's going to give him the W because he's gone 3 innings. Garcia went 1 inning, let up 1 run. And again, he still has to finish this inning. The Paredes went a shutout inning. I want the save.
You want the save?
He's a reliever.
Okay.
But he's not going to get it.
You don't think? You don't think they just go ahead and maybe give it to Paredes and then give him the save?
Did you see the wild pitch?
I did. Perez pops this one up. Third base side. And Taylor is there, so 2 away.
I mean, now you actually have something to look forward to as we take a look at some of the defensive changes for the Dodgers this evening. Pitcher Austin Barnes playing second base. And they're going shift, heavy shift here with a 12-3 lead, 2 outs in the 9th inning and nobody on.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
Well, I'm okay with it. Just don't ever complain when a guy bunts on the shift. Do what you want to do. Stick to your analytic beliefs. I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with it shifting now. You always should play not to give up hits. I'm okay with that. It's not like where it's pitching to the score, which is absolutely a thing. We see, like we talked about it earlier, you may approach a guy a little bit differently based on what's happening in the game. It's not like you're tipping your hand here with your defensive alignment and Choo's going to do something different if there was no shift.
1 ball, 1 strike.
But I mean, you are now, here we are in a 12-3 game, 2 outs in the 9th inning, and you're dying to know what's going to happen, right?
Ah, I want to know.
Yeah. Who's getting the win? Will there be a save? We go for the ridiculousness of a save in a 12-3 game.
I love it.
Yep.
I love a save in a 12-3 game.
And for people who don't understand that, regardless of score, if you enter the game and you pitch the last 3 innings of a victory, there's an automatic save. The only situation in which you wouldn't get it, which could be this one, is because the win is up for grabs because Ferguson did not go 5 innings.
Little flare by Choo. And he has another hit tonight, his 3rd. A 3 for 5 night for Shin Soo Choo.
Number 3, Delino Shields.
I mean, just absolutely locked in. A couple of hard hit balls, and then this one off the end of the bat a little bit. It's a good pitch, good movement. 2-seam fastball down and away. Looks like a little piece of bat might have broke there for Choo, but he'll take it. It's going to be the end of his night as Isaiah Kiner-Falefa now comes on to pinch run for Choo.
On a good night, it was. Delino Shields takes a strike.
All right, so they're definitely, if he finishes this, regardless, they're going to give the win to Corvino.
No, that's your opinion.
No. Now I know for a fact they're going to do it.
Why is that?
Because they just pronounced Isaiah Conifer left his name wrong over the press box speaker.
Yeah.
So that tells me everything I need to know. Going with the old Khalifa.
Well, he's at first. And that one down the middle, 1-2. The count on Delano. A couple of hits tonight, a walk for him, so he's reached base safely 3 times. And maybe the biggest question is sort of hovering out over the top of this sellout night tonight. 48,223. How do they decide the win? Will there be a save? Delano not ready to let this one go. 2-2.
I mean, and poor Ferguson. He got 11 runs of support. Didn't go 5 innings.
My guess is he would have relished the opportunity. Whoa. A little tight. Full count. Daniel Corsino, 50 pitches into his evening. Runner goes, 3-2 pitch, and that is ball 4. 2-out walk.
It's quite the reaction from Corsino for a slider that was off the plate. No problem with this call at all. You see it right here. It's a slider. I bet you Fox Tracks has it off the plate. They do. Credit Lance Barrett for not giving in just because of the score, but double hands to the head.
Yeah, the double hand.
Listen, here's the other thing, and it's borderline. I get it. Why are you throwing a 3-2 slider in a 12-3 game on the corner?
Well, fair question. And I think, whoop, bounce pass to the plate. I think when you do that, you sort of lose the the right to react quite as demonstratively as he did right there.
What if Lance Barrett asked him that? Like if they were gotten to an argument about it, the call.
Bro, why are you throwing a slider up there?
It's 12-3. What are you doing?
1-0. Bouncer first base, and that one goes off of Bellinger. Pardon me, Muncy. 1 run is in. DeShields goes to third, and the throw offline. Nobody at the plate, and DeShields will score. So 2 runs in on a wackadoodle play. That is a base hit for Profar. I don't know if he gets credit for 1 or 2 RBIs on that play. I would suggest 1.
Number 2, Monster Alberto.
This thing got ugly quick. Now the ball was hit hard, and can't get on Muncy too much here as he slides over from second base to first a couple innings ago, but ball was smoked hard and kind of took that big bounce, and you see him fall down right there. But this is where it got a little bit weird. Here's the throw, and Muncy doesn't play a ton of first. Now he has to actually be the cutoff man there, right? So after the ball goes into the outfield, he was kind of sitting on the ground because the cutoff throw went to the pitcher.
Here's Alberto almost robbed by the ball girl down the line there. That was a heck of an effort.
Certainly was.
That's 1 play tonight. Almost made a beauty. Now 1 RBI in that play for Profar. And then Profar in on the E9.
A tough break for Puig.
DeShields rather, pardon me.
But he threw that into the pitcher. So pitcher should never be the cutoff man in that spot.
No balls and 2 strikes now on Alberto, and these fans, they've been close a couple of times. They'll take it a little more seriously. 12-5 our score. Here it comes. Swing and a miss, that'll do it. Alberto strikes out. The inning is done with the Rangers tack on 2 in the 9th inning. 12-5. Final score tonight. All right, John Radigan, Mark McLemore, and David Murphy, they'll be back in the studios ready to break this one down for you tonight. For CJ Nikowski, Emily Jones, and our entire crew. I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. More coverage coming up right after this.